you have 2 tower shields and it blocks like everything?
Yeah. Certain weapons in Dark Souls 2, they have unique effects when you two-hand
Dual
them,
wield
when you dual
effects,
wield
yeah.
them. Yeah, it basically is like the basic version of like weapon arts in Dark Souls 3, but it's
Yeah.
only for like
Could
3 or
I
4
use the
weapons.
shield as a weapon?
You could. I don't know how much damage it does.
Damn.
Is the stream going?
Oh, no,
I
I didn't
don't
check.
know. Let me check. You're a stream?
Yeah, but that's the reason why I hated Dark
Yeah,
Souls
we're
3
good.
is
We're
because like
going.
all the things that they did. Could you take that thing at the bottom right off? That thing's retarded.
Nah, that has to stay.
That crap is so retarded, yo. Let me tell you, every time I look at that crap, it irritates me.
That's fine.
That's funny.
That's the reason it's gonna stay up now. I'm glad you've told
It's like
me.
it's like she has an eye, and I just want to punch her in the face.
Fuck her other eye.
She's a cripple.
Yeah, it's like so bad, yeah. Oh my god, that's
I put
fantastic.
the anime link in
It's
the
funny how much I hate
chat.
that crap. Anyway, um, oh damn, Dark Souls 3 has the discount too. Dark Souls 3 is full price, yo. Dark Souls 3 is
Yeah.
still $60, bro. Damn, are we gonna buy both like right here?
I
No,
already own Dark Souls 3, so
we probably
I don't
can't
have to buy
run Dark
crap.
Souls 3 on our computer
Yeah,
anyway.
that's the other thing. We need to
Let me
check to see
see
if we can
about
run
that.
2 even.
Yeah,
The
2 we're
hell?
definitely gonna be able to run.
I mean, it could be a bad port.
Oh,
No,
geez.
well, I played it before. I beat 2.
Well, you also played 1.
No, well, that's what I'm saying. I played on a worse computer, so I can't see how it would be bad.
What are we doing?
We gotta watch the anime.
What the hell, man?
Did you pull it up? Are you set?
Where are we watching it on?
I put the link in chat already.
What the hell, man? You give me that link.
Man, he's stoned. Dark Souls
I just
3.
kind of hate Dark Souls 3 because the reason why I hate it, it does nothing that's like actually important to anything. Like the thing about weapon arts for me is that none of them are like that useful, and they don't add like a critical element to the game. It's like, just a flair, just colors. It's like,
That's
woo.
nice, yo. That's
Yeah, that's
nice.
hype. You could play the game just using certain weapon arts.
Oh
Like
yeah, but
the Odachis have like really good weapon arts, and you combo using the weapon art. It's like playing
oh,
Bloodborne almost with the weapon arts.
well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, yeah, sure, but then you could do like regular R1 attacks, and then you do just about the same.
Well,
Like
I
the
mean,
the
you could play the game using a giant shield, max poised, and just stand there. But that's
oh
not the
yeah.
point. The point is to enjoy it. Enjoy
Well, yeah, the
using it,
point is
and you
the
do get
point is to
rewarded
enjoy
with
it.
more damage, like movement.
Yeah,
They do
like a little bit
things,
more
right?
damage. Like the only thing that's actually good is like the movement. That's the only one, and that's like so stupid. If you want people to move faster, just have them move
But
like straight faster.
yeah, but it's not about the benefit, yo. It's about playing how you wanna play. You
Well,
know?
that's what I'm saying. It doesn't like play how you want to play. Yeah, sure, right? But I don't think that allows you to do that more. You know?
What do you
I'll
mean?
have to
The
see when I
Farron
get there.
great swords, yo. The freaking ring knight, two-handed great swords. That is exactly how I want to play Dark Souls. What do you mean?
I mean, but you just have one cool move. Like my issue is like I just them doing like one thing like that. I can't enjoy like one thing more. Like that was adding weapon arts to the game was the easiest thing they could have possibly done. Like literally, like that's just about the easiest thing they could have
Yeah.
possibly done. Like, and you're telling me that's your big improvement, yo? That and we're gonna praise them for that? Like Jesus Christ, yo.
I'm
That's like
not
really
saying we
bad.
should praise them for it, but I'm saying in the ratings of my Souls game, that's what makes it the best Souls game.
Well, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That's why I feel like that's poor because like that's nothing. That's you're getting a better story on the other hand, or even trying, right? Well, it's still to be seen if Dark
Well,
Souls
the
2 has
thing
a
is that the
story.
story literally doesn't matter in Souls. The story in Souls is literally all in the lore. It doesn't matter.
Well, I mean,
And Dark Souls 2 story isn't canon. It was scrapped as well.
well, I don't care if it's not canon. Like as a standalone game, it's probably better than the story as a whole, anyway. So it's like, you know.
Yeah, I'll have to see. I mean,
It's-
honestly, Dark Souls 3 gives you like quite a bit of actual story when you're doing like the hollow run and stuff.
What I'll do in Dark Souls 2 is actually talk to people. Like I'm not gonna read crap, but I'm gonna that's how I'll determine if something has a story. Is like I'll actually like talk to people and see what they say about different things and see what I get grasp from the story. And like don't take contextual stuff, but like actually talk to people.
Hmm.
And that's how I'll gauge whether or not it actually has a story. But you know, otherwise it's like yeah, whatever, you know.
That's an interesting way to rate games. We do
Yeah,
everything so differently. It's
from each other, yeah.
unbelievable. Oh
Yeah.
my god, yo.
Yeah,
Because how I rate games is after I play through it on my playthrough, how I played, I determined what the game was trying to do, whether it was pushing story or not. And based off of the main aspects is what I gave the most weight to on my ratings. So for Dark Souls 1, and that's what I'm saying for the whole series, I'm not going to put that much weight on the story because they clearly didn't want to execute it that well anyway.
well,
It's
that's a
it's clear that it's all boss fights and exploration related
I
crap.
I can agree with you there. I can honestly agree with you there, right? But my issue is if that was the goal, right? If that was the goal, then the game is like practically like a 2 out of 10 because
Well, yeah.
everything else is like boring, you know. That's my
Well,
issue.
yeah.
And that's why I say like Dark Souls 2 like, yo, Dark Souls 2, bro. Dark Souls
We gotta
freaking
see.
2.
We gotta see what the game is put. Because here's the thing: is I'm not
Yeah.
gonna play the game talking to everybody. I'm gonna play it how I normally play games anyway. And if the
Not
story is executed well and they push the story onto you, and you can like follow it, then I'll weigh the story heavier and I'll give it good points. You know.
Well, that's
But
the thing. That's how I know. That's why I hate Dark Souls. Is because I always play the game talking to everybody. And
right.
I talk to everybody, right? And like you realize that wow, this game has no story. Like Dark Souls 1 has quest lines. I
Yeah.
saw patches. I murdered this fool. You think I care about patches, bro? Murder this guy instantly because it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. It just leads to nothing. You know, everything leads to nothing. In Dark
Yeah.
Souls 2, you might actually want to do a quest line if the story is like something. You know, it's like that whole situation. And this is my issue with like, oh, saying Dark Souls 3 is good because weapon arts, right? I'm like, if you put weapon arts as such a bonus, right? As such a
Yeah.
well, you're placing weapon arts as such a bonus as beyond the other ones, but I don't really place that
No.
as that much of a
Yeah,
bonus.
yeah. I agree with that. But why I said I told you this already, why I would rate Dark Souls 2 low
Mhm.
is because it lacks poise that Dark Souls 1 has, and it
Yeah.
lacks weapon arts that Dark Souls 3
Three has,
has.
yeah, yeah.
And Dark Souls 3 also has good magic and pyromancy. And
Yeah.
we
And
don't know
also the
what Dark
better
Souls 2
bosses as
has
well.
yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
Dark Souls.
that's why I don't put it just on weapon arts. I put on weapon arts, poise, and potentially magic.
Yeah, that's
I
what I
think
was saying.
I think Dark Souls 2's bosses are like notoriously terrible. I like
Yeah.
like the last
Oh
boss in Dark
no.
Souls 2 sucks. Boss before that, I mean
Yeah.
like
I
the
remember
last
it.
boss.
Freaking Nishandra, yeah.
Yeah, last boss sucks. Yeah.
Last boss
Oh
is
I
no.
think the
garbage.
DLC bosses are better though. Is the only thing. I do think that the DLC
Yeah.
bosses are better
I feel like Dark Souls 2 is going to redeem itself more in the DLCs.
in the DLC,
But
which
it's just that
I don't
Dark Souls 3
exactly
didn't
mind.
need to do that. Is the thing. It didn't need to redeem itself with the DLCs.
I honestly I don't exactly mind for now. Like if the games were just out and they didn't have, okay, I understand. But since we're playing all of them with the DLCs,
Yeah.
that's gonna factor into the.
Oh.
That's gonna have to
Yeah,
factor into
it's
this.
gonna
Yeah,
factor
it
in.
will.
Yeah.
But
gonna factor in.
you'd have to rate it based off of how long the DLC related stuff is too.
Yeah, Dark
Because
Souls.
even if it redeemed itself, if it's only like 10% of your entire gameplay, that's not enough in my opinion.
Dark Souls
Yeah.
2 DLC, I think is like a lot of
Yeah,
crap.
I
Yeah.
think
They
it's
had
If it's
pretty
a
long.
lot, then I'd give it a fair go.
Honestly,
Yeah.
the thing is, for Souls games, the length of the DLC I really don't care about. Because what length is in Souls is going to be walking through an area multiple times,
multiple times.
backstabbing
Yeah,
the
yeah.
same dude. That's why I don't care about the length. Dark
Yeah.
Souls 3, I feel honestly
But-
added the best with the DLCs.
Well, not length,
'Cause
but
it's
just
basically-
amount of content.
yeah,
you
amount
get.
of content is a better
Yeah,
thing. Like honestly, what I
Yeah.
just rated on is how good the DLC bosses are. Is what it's gonna be. Because
Right.
the content in the DLC is literally just gonna be the bosses, and the areas. Who cares? You're just gonna be walking through them again, just backstabbing enemies.
Yeah.
Unless
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
like something really unique there and interesting, I really don't care.
Yeah. Anyway, let's watch this crap, yo. I'm tired of talking to you retards. Kiss anime.
Yeah.
First half hour of our stream is us talking about Souls.
Dark Souls. Yeah, I hate. Let me tell you, but that's the thing. Like, oh, this fantastic game, right? It's really not. It's just that it's
Yeah.
better. Like for me, it. Well, we'll see. We'll see. I think I have an imagination of what I think it is, but Oren.
At the end of the day, it's opinion. There's no right opinion.
Yeah.
Nah,
You're
trust me.
really-
My opinion is correct.
You have the
Your
worst
opinion is the
Let me
dumbest.
tell you. You know,
My
people say
opinion
that
is right.
opinions are. You can't say that opinions are wrong. You have wrong opinions.
That's the thing. It's just that. It's what people really want out of something,
Yeah.
right? And my issue with, and I would agree, like if no other game had done like weapon archer, like cool combos and stuff, I'd be like, damn, this is wild, bro. This is like a whole new, whoa. No, that crap makes no sense. If I want that kind of crap, if you're not gonna make it as good or close to as fun as other games, even in your own genre, that's nothing. That's absolutely nothing. And this is why a good story is the most powerful thing you could have in a game. Because no matter how similar a story is to another story, the impact it could have on the player will always be powerful. You understand what I'm saying? And it's hard to just compare that to another game and say like, oh, this game, made me feel like whatever, right? That's why I like story so much, right? Like if I want combat, I'll just go play Devil May Cry. You think, like, let me tell you, Dark Souls could be like a linear freaking game. I wouldn't even mind,
Yeah.
because it's like,
Honestly, what games are you comparing to Souls in its genre? I'm curious. About
Well,
that.
honestly, I feel like any like beat 'em up, like Devil May
Dark
Cry
Souls
is
isn't really a beat 'em up. That's the
it
thing.
really just is. It's like straight just a beat 'em up. Like, how is it different? Like you just walk and you beat people up. That's like the entire game.
I mean, a beat 'em up is very different. I would classify a beat 'em up as a different genre than Dark Souls. Because if you look at Devil May Cry is a
feel like
completely different game. It doesn't
well,
play at all like Dark Souls.
Well, not because it doesn't play at all. Like, why is it a problem that Devil May? Well, not why is it a problem that Devil May Cry doesn't play like Dark Souls, right?
I would feel like that's a different genre because it doesn't play at all like it.
I don't feel like it's a
If
different genre.
if you can shoot a
I
gun
honestly
in a
don't.
game, that doesn't mean that it's a shooter, right?
It's a third person RPG. That's literally just what it is. Like it's a third person
Yeah,
RPG
a third-person
where
RPG.
where you
That's
walk
the
around and you
general
like
genre.
attack people. Where you
But
walk
I
around
would
and you attack people.
classify
Yeah.
Dark Souls more so closer. I would give it's a genre with games like Nioh or like the other types of games like
The
that.
other like Souls-like games, but this is my issue with like Souls-like games, right? Is that Souls-like games are just poorly made games of like it's just a poorly made version of like other games.
Well,
Like,
that's its genre.
that's all. Like other.
That's what its
This is what I'm
genre
saying. This is what I'm
is.
saying. Sure, right? That's its genre, right? But it's a subgenre of something that's already better. That's my whole issue with that whole quote unquote
third-person
genre.
RPG
Souls
is a
like,
very large genre.
No. Well, that's
Many
what I'm saying.
types
Like
of things fall
like
into it. You
classic.
can't say that because like Resident Evil is a third-person RPG. I don't think you would
classic
compare that to Dark Souls.
classic slashing beat 'em up kind of games, right? Was like the name of the game. Like back in the day, that used to be like a lot of games, like action based games, right?
Yeah.
Action based third person RPGs, right? Then Dark Souls came along. They had no action in it whatsoever, right? And was just the exact same thing, but with no action. Like absolutely like no action. Like I don't see anything different from Dark Souls to Nier to Devil May Cry. I don't see anything different about those games.
Well,
Like there's
those games factually play completely differently. They're really
it's just
not the
it's
same
just
at all.
all they have, right? All that's different, right? All that's
Rather, all that they have in common is that they're in third person.
no,
Everything else about the game is very different.
I completely disagree. I completely disagree because all those games, all that Dark Souls is different from those games is that it's slower and you have less options. That's literally the only difference.
Saying
It's the
those
exact same
two
thing.
things are very large things to say.
But
Having
that
less
doesn't.
options entails a lot of things.
But sure, right? But that doesn't make Dark Souls better in any way.
That doesn't
It's like
make
a
it better,
downgrade.
but that means it's a
It's
different genre.
but it's a okay, sure. Okay, all right. If you want to say okay, it's a different genre, it's a different genre. But it's just worse. Why not make it in that genre?
Yeah, you can make it in a different
You know.
genre and have it be better.
Yeah.
But the Souls-like is its own genre at this point. It really is.
Okay, well that's what I'm saying. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. But why make it in the Souls-like genre? That genre is trash.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
it's the
I'm not
same as another
disagreeing with
genre.
that.
It's the same as another genre, right? It's the same as another genre, but just like worse. You know. That which is another thing that Dark Souls annoys me with is that it had a really good opportunity to be like a nice action-based game, and it just like completely drops the ball. And like
Yeah.
they try to do that with the weapon art. It's like, oh, you can move faster now. You have more moves, and it's still like, it's like what are you
Yeah.
trying to prove here? What are you
Yeah.
actually trying to prove? You know.
This is what I was saying before, though, is the combat is always the same. The only thing that differentiates it is how you build your character, but
Yeah.
even that is just very slightly.
Yeah.
Um,
You know, like
but yeah, that's like the one thing that makes it different from beat 'em ups is the combat doesn't rely on the mechanics of the game too much, more so how you build your character.
how you build your character. Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, would have been cool if you had that variation on top of having a
Yeah.
bunch of mechanics. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it
Yeah.
would have been a net gain in coolness. Imagine how much more replayable Dark Souls would have been, right? If you had that kind of stuff. You
Yeah.
just replayed for it being fun,
The
you know.
the only issue with something like that is that doing that takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of time to do something like that, especially in
Yeah.
Souls where you have a crap ton of weapons. Doing
You
like
know,
having unique combat for all of those weapons with like a lot of moves and stuff, it takes time.
And this is the thing, right? While I agree with you, you don't need to make it as crazy as Devil May Cry, right? But if they even tried to make it in between,
Yeah.
somewhere close, even
It's
close to in between, it would have been so
it's
good
it's not a matter of like the mechanic changes. It's just variety in the
in the
combat.
Yeah.
combat. Yeah.
It can't just be light attack roll, light attack roll, light attack roll.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Is
And
the
and
combat is just one thing, one dimensional,
and
straightforward as it could
exactly
be.
and specifically that is my point when I say,
Yeah.
right? That them adding weapon arts does absolutely
Yeah,
nothing
yeah,
to me, other than annoying me more, right? It does absolutely nothing for me.
yeah.
Because, and this is what I'm saying. If you put Dark Souls elements in Devil May Cry, right, where you fight and your souls leave where you left it, and that kind of crap, like, and that's one of the things that makes Dark Souls, that, and made like
Mm.
equipment sets and stuff like that. Like you could change your armor because you already have the weapons and crap, right? But you could change your armor and it gives different stat boosts and stuff like that. Whatever. It would have everything that Dark Souls has, but also everything that Devil May Cry has. And like the
Yeah.
armor and stuff like that and the Souls mechanic is much less overhead. it's not that hard to just add to your game, which is why every game is freaking doing that now. Neho, it's like just copy paste it. It's like,
Hell
you know,
yeah.
Yeah.
Don't innovate.
don't innovate. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Don't innovate. But that's my problem. And that's why like I like Dark Souls 2 because it I'm assuming it tries with the story at all.
But see, here's the problem with, well, I guess my problem with how you're rating Dark Souls 3 is
Uh-huh.
you hate it because it innovated poorly,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
With the
That's my
weapon
problem.
arts. But
Yeah.
I don't see that as them trying to innovate. I see that as them trying to round out everything. Because they made magic good, they made
Yeah.
ranged crap good, they added weapon arts from Bloodborne. So it's just well-rounded areas and everything. The only thing it was missing was poise at that point, right?
And
But like
that's the thing. Yeah.
with
Yeah.
their
That's true.
system, they tried to do the best that they could. Because the thing is, you don't want to at this point in the Soul series, you don't want to change the combat mechanics because then it's not the same game
It's
anymore.
not the same.
Right?
Yep.
For it to be a Souls game, it has to be that retarded light attack roll crap.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they did the best that they could with adding variety by like making
Yeah.
every type of variation of combat useful
Yeah.
and actually viable.
But I
That's
think,
the way I've been seeing it.
yeah,
I
that's
think that's the
why.
main thing. Is that Dark Souls 3 was the first Dark Souls game where it's genuinely not a bad idea to go down any path, like magic, fire, like you could do
Yeah.
anything and you're still good. You're still perfectly fine.
But that's what I'm saying. It is a Souls-like game. They can't change the genre, so you got to
Yeah.
do the best you can with that genre. And I feel like that's why Souls 3 did a good job, right? Because it gave you all those options,
Yeah.
those options within that genre.
I see what you're saying, and that's definitely true. It's definitely an improvement on the formula that they have.
Yeah.
My issue is that my overarching issue, right, is just that the formula is just bad.
The
Yeah.
formula's bad. Yeah.
Well,
Just
so
bad
yeah,
formula.
yeah. Adding on to Tate's point, it's the fact that it's as part of the Souls series, right?
Yeah.
The creator of the game has innovated in the Souls genre, just not in Dark Souls, right? He made Sekiro and freaking Bloodborne and crap, right? Which does certain innovations to the genre. Like Sekiro is made by the same person, and they have a whole slew of like stealth mechanics. There's combat is like different, right? So he it's not that he can't innovate. It's just that it's more so that it's a Souls game, and a Souls game is expected to play a certain way.
Yeah, I definitely see from a creator's perspective and like a marketing perspective, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Can't change
Like,
the
if
game,
you
man.
bought a Dark Souls game and my guy starts pulling out a gun, alright, you're not
That
playing
crap
a Souls
would be
game
so
anymore.
hype, bro.
It
Let
would
me
be
tell you.
hilarious,
It would
but
be
you're not
so
playing a
good.
Souls game anymore.
It would be so good, yo.
You know the backlash they would get, the
Yeah.
uproar.
But the more I think about it, the more I realize how much I hate Dark Souls, yo. Like, let me tell you, I
Yeah.
hate that game because it has ruined like a generation of gaming. Because people expect, like, people have this
Yeah.
vision of that third-person sword fighting like game. It's Dark Souls. Like that
It's
is their
Dark Souls,
vision
yeah.
of what that is. Why is that their vision? And not games like Devil May
It's
Cry or Nier. You could imagine Devil May Cry and games like Nier and stuff like that in like the third person like beat 'em up space was the vision before. That was
Yeah.
literally the vision, and it was amazing. Now the vision has totally changed, and those games are now niche. Like that's like a niche genre that annoys me to no
Yeah.
end, bro.
Yeah.
No end.
The thing
life's
no
not
end.
fair, man. Get
Yeah.
good.
The thing is that it's games like Dark Souls, they're easier to play than those games. Right? To do like a lot of the I don't know, to do like really crazy stuff in like to do like Royal Guard like crazy stuff in
Yeah.
like
Well,
that
honestly,
game.
it's not that it's easier to play. It's that it's easier to make. The market got oversaturated with Souls-like games. At a certain point, that was the only thing you could play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's why it shut down typical like beat 'em up.
I mean, Devil May Cry didn't come out. Devil May Cry between like 4 and 5 didn't come out in forever. You didn't
Yeah,
have like a God of
Yeah,
War to
that is
fill that
true.
space after God of War 3.
yeah,
Nier came out, and that's like niche for some reason. Nier is a niche game,
Yeah, for
right?
some reason.
So the giants in that space, right? I mean, I guess there's other
yeah.
games that
Yeah.
kind of did it
That
too, but the giants in that space all disappear at the same time, like Aang,
Yeah.
bro. They pulled Aang.
Yeah.
They
It
Yeah.
all
comes
disappear.
it comes back to the point where making games like that takes a lot of time
Yeah.
because you have to create those mechanics and all of those things. And if you make
This
Dark
is
Souls, you just make basic attacks and you make rolling and you're good.
yeah.
Right.
This is the common pattern in anything that goes mainstream. Though, look at anime, simple caricatures, simple plot. Use that crap.
Yeah,
Horror
reproduce
games,
that.
yo.
Yeah.
Read a 2,000-word essay for the story. Run around from someone that's trying to kill you. Music, pop music, same beats, same stupid lyrics, the same dancing. It's the same thing. It's Dark Souls is no different. It's mainstream. It
Even
oversaturated the market because of how simple it is to create and play. You know?
even Devil May Cry 4 to Devil May Cry 5 is the same thing, right? The only reason I say that it's still good, right, is because it's still fun. Like it really is.
Right, right.
Dark Souls is just not fun, you know.
It's not, but it's
Between fun,
mainstream,
it's
yo.
just mainstream. And that's
That's
so
what
sad.
it is.
It's so sad that is the vision, you know. Like, Devil May Cry 5 should be so wildly popular. It is unbelievable. These were the games we used to play on like PlayStation 2 and crap. You know, these are like God of War. God of War used to be so crazy. It used to be so everybody played that. And now we have Souls-like games, bro. Oh my god.
Yeah,
God
people don't
damn.
have the time. It's about the money, man.
Um,
You could pump out 3 Souls games in the time it took that man to make Devil May Cry 5.
Yeah.
Man pumped out 3 Souls games. You know how much money he made with that compared
Yeah.
to Devil May Cry 5, right?
Yeah.
Man
He made like crazy
so
amounts,
much money.
It all goes back to that. Don't innovate something that's working, yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know?
People are buying, but
It's a safe game to make.
and this is it. The reason it worked is because the gamers are retarded, bro. That's the reason it worked, because they're stupid, yo. The first time I played Dark Souls, I knew that crap sucked, yo. I knew it. I knew that the first time I played Demon Souls, I thought it was the most amazing thing ever. I thought it was like, yo, this is crazy, because it's the first time. I'll give you it. First time, nice. Second, Dark Souls is worse than Demon Souls, yo. That is unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Oh yeah.
Unbelievable. I knew I hated that crap, yo. Ah, man, that's funny. That is funny.
It's
Nier,
all
bro.
man.
Imagine Nier, a game with a good
that's
story.
the thing. Dark Souls blew up because people were touting it as a hard game. That's why it blew up. Was because people said it was a hard game.
It was like a challenge game for like a lot of people.
Right. That's also partly what it means to be a Souls-like game, is that it's hard and unforgiving.
Yeah, it's so stupid. It's like, let me tell you, the bosses in like God of War, Devil May Cry and stuff are infinitely harder than any boss in
literally any Nier boss. Infinitely harder.
Infinitely harder.
And then one of the main bosses people talk about in Souls is like, oh, this is the boss, yeah. Ornstein and Smog, yeah.
Yeah.
Those stoners are like, those are the, this is where you're gonna get clapped in Souls.
Yeah. It's
and
like
those stoners literally aren't even hard, is the thing.
In comparison, relative, you know,
I
to things
spent
that are
longer
actually
on Capra Demon than those two.
Yeah, and not even relatively hard, they're just poorly made.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Right?
And the way you win that fight is by cheesing the boss. The way you win half of the fights in Dark Souls 1 is by cheesing the boss.
Let me tell you, once you know the cheese strat, you just win.
Yeah.
Literally, that's it.
Like, freaking, Gaping Mouth. What was that dude's name? Gaseous Storage, some crap. Ceaseless Discharge.
Yeah.
That fight is literally a cheese. That's the entire fight.
Which I do have to say, Dark Souls 3 does even that up, where like you could fight bosses like straight up. I don't think I'd really cheese the boss fight in
Yeah,
Dark Souls 3. Like
that's another
you,
Dark Souls 3.
you
Every boss
you can fight
you could
straight
kind
up.
of
Yeah.
fight them like in Bloodborne, where you're just in there the entire time.
Yeah, yeah. You don't need to like apply like cheese strats. You can use the mechanics of the game and just
Bloodborne is
like
so gay.
Yeah,
But yeah, like that's what I'm telling you. Nier. Imagine that. Nier is a niche game.
Yo,
That
Fury is a niche
that
game.
is and that's what I'm saying. Fury, right? Fury is like better. This is I forgot. I have played Flash games that are better than Dark Souls because
Hell
it's
yeah.
just like a boss rush and you just do
Yeah.
crap. And Fury's like the perfect example. $10 game, bro. It's just a boss rush. All the bosses are harder than any boss in Dark Souls. Dark Souls, the entire franchise, right? Any boss is harder. You go to right to the thing that you actually want to do, right? It has more mechanics than Dark Souls, right? More mechan, and I'm talking like Fury has like a couple of mechanics, so you can really like imagine,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
More
Yeah.
boss diversity, right? Than any of the bosses in Dark Souls. Literally more boss diversity, right? It's just better in every significantly better. Not oh we added weapon arts. No, bro. Significantly better in every single way. $10, you play it, whatever. It's fantastic.
That's how
I
you do
cannot
it.
I cannot praise a franchise when another game is doing is giving you the same um is giving you the same value or like doing the same thing that you're doing for that much less. You
Yeah.
know, I
Yeah.
can't give it to you. I literally can't give it up. I can't give it up. You know.
That's why Dark Souls is retarded.
That's why. Let me tell you, I
What
hate
do you
it
mean?
so much. Yo. I hate it so much because it's skewed people's vision on things like so much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine Devil May Cry, bro.
Dark
That's so
Souls
sad.
is a standard for
Yeah.
games.
Yeah, it's a standard. Yeah, exactly. But, and my thing about what you said about Devil May Cry, like it's hard to do all those things. The funny part, right, is that you could play like as like a just complete stoner, just R1 spam too.
Yeah.
Like you don't even have to do anything. You don't have to do anything. You literally, if you could play just like Dark Souls, and the mechanics are still better. You know, but you have the option. You know, you have the option. Jesus Christ, I hate that. That makes me really want to play Devil May
The
Cry though.
the issue was Devil May Cry ever like really mainstream? Devil May Cry 5?
Well, no, it wasn't. It wasn't. Devil
Yeah,
May
I
Cry
feel
3
like
and
the
4
issue
was-
with
yeah.
Devil May Cry 5 not becoming mainstream is that it tried to push a story. And the
Yeah, I
story that it
guess.
tried to push wasn't great. So
Yeah,
people
yeah.
saw that, and that's what they latched onto. In Souls,
Yeah.
there's nothing to latch onto to say that it's outwardly bad.
Yeah.
Right? You just play the game, right?
Yeah.
And that's what it is.
Jeez, yo. Freaking Souls, bro. I hate that game. Makes me want to play Nier as well, yo.
Yeah.
I should play that crap, yo. Makes me
You
want to
gotta
play
speed
Nier.
run Nier.
Nah, I'm not gonna speedrun Nier. Nier's a game like I would actually enjoy, like actually just playing. You know.
Yeah. Nier is like you get immersed. The
Um.
it comes back to another thing is that immersion in games is like a whole thing, and Dark Souls you really don't get immersed in the world either.
Well, okay. Here's the thing. On my first playthroughs of the Dark Souls game, I generally get like immersed, and I try, like I try to care about the story and stuff like that. Like that's always me, but there's just usually nothing, you know.
Yeah. The only time I ever get immersed in Dark Souls, I ever remember getting immersed in any Souls game, was in some of the boss fights in Dark Souls 3, just because
Yeah.
of the music.
Yeah.
Dark Souls doesn't have the music to do anything.
Yeah.
You
What do
can't
you
really get
mean,
immersed
man?
in it. There's nothing
But and
there.
and that's the thing. That's one genre specific, or two genres, whatever, right? But like you can apply this same concept of like the dumbing down on the worser version of crap to like a lot of different genres, you know, like a
Yeah.
lot. I would assume Quake players hate Call of Duty for the exact
Yeah.
same reason, bro.
Yeah.
Like OG Quake dudes probably hate Call of Duty for the exact same thing, because Call of Duty created this thing. Again, first time, amazing, whatever. Then they just create this vision of what a shooter needs to be. You know?
Yeah.
And shooting games have never recovered from Call of Duty. Literally have never
All
recovered.
shooters are to the standard of Call of Duty.
Even Halo started turning more
Let
towards
me tell
Call.
you,
Oh
that was
my
the death
God.
of Halo when it started to turn into COD. If Halo became the standard, we would probably be back to Quake now.
Yeah.
If Halo
Yeah,
became
no.
the standard, because
I
Halo
don't doubt it.
is practically Quake but slowed down.
Yeah. You know, that's the thing. Um, and this is one of the reasons I like that game. What's it called? Child of Light, because it actually made like turn-based games fun for me. Child of Light, like I actually like the combat in Child of Light.
Yeah.
And just because Final Fantasy is mainstream, all turn-based games have to not innovate ever. Like they can all just stay the same. Yeah.
They're all completely turn-based, and the thing is that most of them don't even have strategy.
Yeah.
At least in Persona, right? What I really Persona's really not about the gameplay at all. But at least in the gameplay, it's heavily strategic.
No.
It's heavily strategic in Persona. In Final Fantasy, you don't give a damn what moves you're doing half the time.
Yeah.
Half the time you're just
Hell
one-shotting
yeah.
everybody. The only time you ever think is when you're at a boss and you're like, I gotta have my white mage heal me this round.
Yeah.
And that's the thinking you do.
Yeah. Just what I'm saying. Like, it's funny now. I hate like a whole bunch of games here. Not only Dark Souls here. I hate a crap ton of games, bro.
Games are bad, man.
Shooting games used to be cool, you know. Like, I don't know, like Killzone and stuff used to be like BioShock, for example.
Yeah, and like
you know, that's a shooting game.
Crisis too.
Yeah,
Crisis
those are shooting
is
games.
like great example. Yeah, those are all shooters.
Those are
all
FPS. Yeah, those are FPS games. But no, we think of FPS now as multiplayer. Like, and that's it. Call of Duty multiplayer. And that's
honestly,
about it.
the best shooter that's come out recently is Titanfall 2.
Oh yeah.
Titanfall 2 has a good story, and Titanfall gameplay in and of itself is really good.
It's just really good. But no, that game is niche, and it just
that
dies.
game literally died like a week after release. It
That
became
is so crazy.
It's tragic. The
That's so
story
crazy.
of Titanfall 2 is really good, apparently. Like, it's a really good
That
story.
game
and
died because the first one no one liked, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It died really
combat
fast because
was
of that.
really good too.
But and that's the issue, is that when the genre is so defined, right? When the genre is so defined, if you make a game outside of the genre, it's hard for you to pick up any steam whatsoever.
Yeah.
If you make anything outside of it. And that's why you have to create your own thing. Like, literally, you just have to create your own thing. You know? You have to create your own thing. Like, and it comes back, freaking comes back to, like, a good story. I mean, Titanfall still failed, even though it had a good story, right? But, like, Cyberpunk, the only reason people are just gonna hype up the story because they're gonna relate it to Quake, to Witcher, and they'll be like, oh, the story is good. So it doesn't matter that it looks like GTA. They could do whatever they want to.
Yeah.
You know, because
they're gonna get a crap ton of sales regardless.
Regardless, exactly. Because everybody's gonna. Last of Us 2, nobody cares about the gameplay. They were like, story. That's how it's got its sales. You know, that's literally how it got. You make a powerful story that's like a cult classic among like gamers, right? And they'll be like, damn, yo, what? Which is pretty much why people bought Shenmue, I assume, is for the story. Like, I don't know, I guess so. I don't know why you would buy that game, other than if it had a story. Because Shenmue was out at the same time GTA was out. And I don't understand why you would pick Shenmue over GTA. You know? So it's gotta be like the story or something. So, you know.
If you have a good story, people will buy the game regardless.
People
Certain
will buy the game.
games are literally just story.
Exactly.
There's no gameplay. It's practically just a story.
Yeah. So once you have that unlocked, people will buy your game, and they won't just judge you by your gameplay, and that allows you to do whatever you want with your gameplay. You know. Which is why Death Stranding got any sales whatsoever. Is because everybody was like, "Oh, the story, bro, is gonna be correct."
Yeah.
Right? And though the gameplay is absolute trash, still got judged by its gameplay, but people still bought it and played it. You know, you win. You literally just
Yeah.
win. You
That's
get
the
the
reason
chance to do
Destiny
whatever
ever
you.
existed. It was
Yeah,
because people were expecting a great story out of
a
it.
great story. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's literally what I'm saying. The story, bro, gives you the freedom of what you want to do. You know, it's the story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that story is elite, man. Let me tell you.
This is the best part. And this is the best part. Again, why I love fighting games. Fighting games have never fallen
Yeah.
into that dumb crap of one game ruling the entire genre. It has never. Street Fighter almost did it because there's a lot of games like Street Fighter, but within the Street Fighter formula, people have made wildly
Yeah.
different
Yeah.
crap. Killer Instinct. You got Street Fighter. You got Skullgirls. You got freaking Rising Thunder. You got like a whole bunch of crap, right? In that just one
Dive kick.
space. That, you know, all
Yeah.
the Nidhogg, like you got all of this crap, right? In that 2D fighting game section, and huge variety, like huge actual innovation, actual differences. And then the 3D side, you got like Soul Calibur, you got Virtual Fighter, Dead or Alive, freaking Tekken. You know, all of these things are different, which is weird. Which is weird when you think about it. Why are fighting games able to survive that onslaught, right, of Street
Yeah.
Fighter, and other genres were not able to
Honestly,
yeah.
I really feel like fighting games were very close. Like
Um,
if
Fighting
Tekken,
games are fighting games become mainstream from the competitive scene is
yeah,
the
for the
thing.
competitive scene,
And
yeah,
when
I
a
get that.
game does something different and there's competitive players that play it, it like innovates that thing.
Yeah,
And that's why
and
it
it'll
was able
have
to
a
spread
base,
out.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it'll actually have a base. Yeah, yeah,
The
and
community is competitive and offline,
yeah,
interactive, you know.
yeah,
That's why it was able to do that. Completely
yeah,
different, yo. You're always open to new things.
yeah.
yeah,
Mortal Kombat, Mortal Kombat, like the the list goes on and on about innovation just in the Street Fighter formula. But I think it's what you said. It's mainly due to the fact that fighting game players are stoners. Like all of them are
yeah,
retarded, and like they get competitive over like dumb crap, right? And they just
Oh,
they just
yeah.
play, bro.
yeah.
They just play.
The only thing was, I feel like it was really close to being like pretty much just
Just
Street Fighter,
yeah, yeah,
in
yeah.
that if games like Tekken did not do well,
Oh
it would
yeah, yeah,
pretty much only be Street Fighter from
yeah.
now on, because if Tekken didn't sell well, or like Soul Calibur didn't sell well, right, it would set the precedent for not what competitive people want, but what sells, right?
Yeah, what
It's not
sells?
about
Yeah,
what a certain group of people want. It's about what sells.
yeah.
If it doesn't sell enough, then it was
But
going to be like all Street Fighter
it
practically.
it relates back to what Tate said, that because they're competitive, like a new fighting game comes out, fighting game players play it, like they go and play, especially
Yeah.
arcade culture and stuff like that, right? They go and
Yeah.
play it, and they quickly get competitive at it. It's just a natural progression. You play it, then you go fight your friends, and then you start competing, right? And then that game gets popular because people want to fight each other in that specific game, you know?
Yeah.
And due to that, right? Weirdly enough, due to competitiveness among the people playing the game, is what allows the variety in a gaming genre. There's
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
You
competition
could do
in
whatever
Dark
you
Souls.
want as long as it's competitive.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
That's
You
what
could
For
do.
Honor is right now. For Honor, right?
Yeah,
It still exists and it gets weekly updates. Can you imagine that?
yeah.
Weekly
That's crazy.
updates to a 4-year-old game that
Yeah,
practically died on launch.
yeah.
And like in their weekly streams, there's still hundreds of thousands of people watching it
Which is
because
interesting.
there's just a competitive community in it.
Which is interesting, right? Because the Dark Souls formula, For Honor, like I feel like is similar to Dark Souls, right? It's like just a different perspective,
Yeah.
that kind of slow fighting, right? Now this is big, right? Because a game like Devil May Cry can't exactly do that, what For Honor does, right? A game like Dark Souls, you could do what For Honor does, though,
Yeah.
right? Now, right? But For Honor is competitive, right? And that's interesting. For Honor's big, yo. For Honor's
Yeah.
big.
Man.
Unfortunately, unfortunate for all of us, For Honor is big. Yeah,
Yeah,
it
For
could be
Honor is
any.
garbage.
It can be
Nah,
anything
man,
else.
you're the wardens coming to Sam show.
But that's interesting actually. Now we need like, let me tell you, Dark Souls PvP was always so retarded, bro. If that
Dark,
thing was
yeah,
any
yo.
I
good,
Let me
yo.
can't.
tell you. Have you ever seen Dark? You don't want to watch Dark Souls PvP.
What
No,
do
I've
you
I've
mean
watched
watched.
your
I've
ladder
watched a
PvP,
copious
bro?
amount of Dark Souls
Yeah, yeah.
PvP.
Dark Souls
Copious.
PvP is so funny to watch because you have things like there's terms like phantom range and crap in
Yeah,
it, where
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
someone will be on the complete opposite side of the map, you'll attack and it'll hit them.
yeah, yeah,
Bro,
yeah.
that's
It's
just called lag,
hilarious.
bro.
That's what
It's
you
not
need, yo.
even lag. That's with no lag. It's a phantom hit you.
Yeah,
It's part
yeah.
of the Dark Souls PvP.
Oh
Yeah,
no.
Actually,
you need to take advantage of that, yo, the phantom range, yo. But that's the thing. It's so bad, right? It's so bad that now now if it was good, the same thing could have happened, right? And all of these games, kind of like Dark Souls,
Nah,
could
man.
start innovating like
Nah.
crazy, right?
It would
Into
never
that,
happen. It
competitiveness.
would never happen.
I mean,
This
I don't.
this is why it would never. Every video game ever is shallow. Whether you like it or not, there's only
Yeah,
one thing you mainly can do in a video game.
yeah,
Why, either it's story mode or play multiplayer. And depending on what the community loves about it, is what it's going to excel at, right? With fighting games, it goes back to that. Why it was able to innovate is because it was all about like interactive offline combat in arcades fighting people, and
yeah,
it raised the competitiveness and it made people want to get good at everything and beat everyone at everything.
yeah.
But with Dark Souls, what people love about it is the single player, and that's why it's the only thing that keeps getting rinsed and repeat. Look at Call of Duty; it's the same thing. People only love the multiplayer. That's why it's only gonna do multiplayer over and over. That's its main focus. Look at Pokemon. Pokemon has a competitive side. Call of Duty has a competitive side, but no
Yeah.
one cares about that because the main thing you do in the game is catch Pokemon or shoot people in multiplayer and die. You know, it's
You know,
yeah.
every game. Every game has just one thing that most people do, and that one game is gonna determine the path of that entire
and
game.
that's really funny that's an interesting point, right? Because uh, Call of Duty multiplayer, right? It's like it's weird to describe, but it's not the same kind of competitiveness as fighting game
Yeah,
multiplayer.
yeah,
Can't exactly. But what you
no,
said is like all you do is you want to shoot people and die,
yeah.
right? In fighting games, I feel like it's a little more complicated in what you actually want to do.
Well, but that's again because it came from arcades. It
Yeah,
came
yeah.
from you are fighting this dude that's right next to you, and when you lose, you're gonna get smack
That's
talked to the floor. You know?
Yeah,
bringing
yeah,
that up is actually very interesting in the terms of fighting games coming out now, like
yeah, yeah,
Strive,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
Strive is being made for a more casual audience because
Audience, yeah.
it's
yeah.
not made for the arcade people anymore.
Yeah, the arcade people anymore. Yeah.
Most fighting games are doing that. Like, if you listen to a lot of Tekken players, like that are old school, they
Yeah.
say they hate Tekken 7 because it's like casual friendly, or
Yeah,
that it's
it's
mix
more
up
casual.
heavy, and that like people can just get free hits
You
and
get free
stuff
hits and
like
stuff
that.
like that. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. It's the same thing with a lot of fighting games are doing that, where
yeah.
they're making it more open to just anyone.
Which is the thing about Tekken is that that's definitely true what they're saying, right? But which is why for Tekken they need to keep it like as close to Tekken 7 as possible, because Tekken 7 is right at the thin line of where it's too casual and act competitive. So we're
Yeah.
gonna invite both audiences, right? Because if they make Tekken 7 like just a little bit more casual, nobody's gonna play that game. I mean, I guess people will still play it, but like, it's not gonna be good.
It's not gonna be as
Oh, yeah.
successful.
Yeah, yeah.
It's honestly, it's like Street Fighter 4 right now, where it's at.
Yeah. Street Fighter 5.
No, Street Fighter 5 is what made it too casual with
Oh, yeah,
V-trigger
yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
nonsense.
You're right. Street Fighter 4. Yeah,
Street
exactly.
Fighter 4 was where it was at.
Yeah.
Right.
It's right at
Casual,
Street Fighter 4.
competitive, right there.
Street Fighter 4 was a giant, by the way. Like, Street
Hell
Fighter
yeah.
4 was insanity, bro. Like, you go watch some Street Fighter 4 tournaments right now, and still get hyped. Yo, that crap is so crazy, bro.
Yeah.
So many characters, all of
Yeah,
them pretty much viable.
yeah, that's
Yeah, it's
Street
gonna
Fighter,
happen.
bro. Yo, Viscon versus LTG, bro. That crap was
Oh
crazy.
no.
Oh
What?
no.
Your boy Viscon, bro. What's
That's
funny
what
is
I
that
mean. Yo. That's what fighting game is.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
That is the one thing fighting game has was the offline smack talk. Like,
yeah,
look at every hype fighting game moment. Evo moment 37, the Viscoth versus LTG, right?
Yeah.
Everything in 13-0 Perfect Legend. It always involves two people just going at it live with like the whole crowd around them just popping off, you
That's
know?
what it's about.
That's what Call of Duty is like multiplayer. You're not in person. You're not.
Yeah,
I mean, you smack talk, sure, but I mean, you know,
Yeah.
it's like it's not as satisfying. It's
Yeah.
not the main focal point.
Like, you
Right?
watch a Call of Duty tournament even, the crowd isn't part of the Call of Duty tournament.
Yeah, it's
yeah,
not.
yeah.
Like, think of Little Majin versus JDCR.
Yo, people are popping up in the crowd,
was
bro.
such a part of
That
it.
gets so loud.
Yeah, it's crazy. And it's like fighting games is just this weird subversive like underground culture. Not where we are. We're in the multiplayers. We're in the online multiplayer. But the offline arcade sort of scene for fighting is just this weird subversive like underground culture. Yeah, it's like it's its own thing, right? And like games like Dark Souls, Devil May Cry, like even all of those games, right, do not have that element to them. You know, like people are the reason why like I feel like the reason why fighting games are forced to innovate is because the people who play the games are so intense about the games. Nothing gets past them. When something is trash, they yell it to the heavens that it's trash, right? And because people are not forced to be intense about like Dark Souls or anything or any of these games, right? They're like more forced to be casual about them. Nobody really ends up caring. So nothing really gets pointed out. You know? And nothing really gets pointed out like that. You know, like in a big like mainstream way, you know? In a big mainstream way.
Yeah. It goes back to that. Like, that's what the people want. If they want that Dark Souls like mechanics, that's all. It doesn't matter if it's trash or if the story's trash. That's not what they wanted.
Yeah.
They don't care. It's what the community is pushing for. It's the main point of the game. What everyone is there for, you know.
Yeah.
Fighting
That's
games
what
are
they're
gonna
gonna
die
do.
if they go online, though. It will literally die if they go online.
I mean, it did. Case in point was right now,
Yeah.
It literally should. I mean, again, that's more proof. Like what fighting games has that every other genre doesn't have.
That doesn't have.
It's made up of its offline content.
Offline,
Yeah. Like I said, who's gonna be watching this Evo?
Yeah.
Nobody.
I mean, we are, but like.
I mean, we are, but it's not gonna be. It's not nearly gonna
It's
be as.
not gonna be the same.
It's not gonna.
Everyone knows it's not
Everybody
gonna be the
knows,
same.
yeah.
That's not what fighting games are about.
Makes me really want to make. Let me tell you, it makes me really want to go to locals and like get big in the scene, you know, and like make people want to come out to their locals and stuff like that, you know. Easier. Really makes it because you would be saving something. You would literally be saving something amazing, you know, because practically every other genre will go through the same thing that action fighting beat 'em ups have gone through, and turn-based combat has gone through, and like shooters have gone through, like everything else that will happen to every single genre. Once in a while you have something new like Death Stranding, right? But eventually it'll just like get destroyed.
And then you'll just have to look for the indie games because the AAA companies are what's looking for the money.
Yeah, or what's looking for the money. Yeah, exactly. I mean, honestly, nobody's gonna remake Death Stranding. I think everybody's like, yeah, that idea failed. We're not making
what do you mean, man? I'd buy that game remastered in a heartbeat.
Let me tell you, I'm still buying Death Stranding. You know, I support it, bro. I support it. I support innovation.
Doing things differently.
Ladder combat, bro. In Death. What?
He's gonna pee on the plane too.
Yo, hell yeah, I support it. I support it wholeheartedly. Take my money. Yo, take that crap. I don't need it. I don't need it. I support it. I really do support it. Like, you know, you gotta support your
Yeah,
indie games, bro.
yeah.
Yo, I
That's how
bought
you pay
Fury
for it.
on PlayStation, or not PlayStation, on Steam, yo. Even when I had it on PlayStation.
You gotta support like indie games. Like, there's some like quote unquote indie games that are just so good, you. So good,
Yeah, there's some
so good.
indie
Yeah.
games that are literally just like AAA games. They,
And that's my thing. As graph engines get better and more usable and more inexpensive, everybody's gonna be able to create whatever
yeah,
the hell they want.
honestly,
And you,
practically right now, Unreal Engine, you could you can get AAA graphics like right now
yeah,
in Unreal Engine
Yeah.
because they have like an asset shop. You could literally just get assets
yeah, like
that are AAA quality.
I mean, practically, like if you could make a game of the visual fidelity of Dark Souls 1, um, you could once you could get it to there, and just do whatever you want to, you're fine. Like
Yeah,
there are individuals who can write stories, who have stories that they want to tell, you know. And if they
Yeah.
get their hands on the correct kind of team and stuff like that, they could just build it, you know.
yeah, and you don't even need good graphics, right?
No, you
Just
don't.
look at Child of Light. It
Up
just
to a
does
point,
something
it's fine.
different with graphics.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
can make some like 8-bit is its own genre now, of in
yeah,
terms of like graphical things and like
yeah,
voxels, right?
yeah,
The graphic fidelity doesn't even need to be high. You could
yeah.
make an 8-bit game and just have the story be amazing.
Have the story be amazing, exactly. And I feel like that's happening. And like sometimes you get an indie game that just pops off, you know? Like you
Yeah,
just get
it's
like
happening a lot more now.
a lot more, yeah, yeah. Where indie games just pop off, yo. What's an
Yeah.
Yeah,
indie game
like
recently that's happened to? That's actually like
uh,
really good.
Undertale.
Crying is
Uh,
not enough.
yo, crying is not enough, yeah.
Yeah,
Undertale,
Undertale's a
yeah,
good recent
that's
example. It was just made by one dude, a stoner,
yeah.
right? And now
And
that game became wildly popular.
What was
uh,
that one game with you gotta climb up the thing with the pickaxe and you're
Getting
in a
getting
over
pot?
it.
over it, getting
Getting
over it,
Getting
yeah.
over it.
over it
Then.
is literally an asset flip game.
Yeah.
All of those things are just assets that are free in Unity.
And let me tell you, I would buy Get Over. Get Over has a good story, you know. Like actually, it has an excellent story. The story in that game is so
No, what's the other one now? It's the one where you have to hold spacebar to jump. I think it's called Space King.
what
It's
the
literally like getting over it, but it's
Oh
like a
yeah,
different
yeah.
mechanic.
yeah. But and
Um,
that's what I mean. Like getting over it. Yeah, other games have done it, right? But I haven't played them and they're not popular, so I don't really know. That game, getting over it would be like so fun for me. Undertale, honestly, would probably still be fun.
Yeah,
Isn't like the gameplay is
honestly,
like weird.
Undertale is pretty
Yeah,
good. Like
like
I'm
the
not. I
gameplay is
played
like, you know.
Undertale recently. The gameplay
Uh,
itself is also really good too. The
yeah,
story
that's what
is
I'm saying.
good, and the gameplay innovates on the turn-based genre
Oh, the
because
turn-based
it's
genre
really.
thing.
I can't even classify it as
As a
turn-based
turn-based,
really,
yeah,
but
yeah,
it's just good.
yeah. Like that's the thing. That's the thing. I would play that crap, yo. Yeah, so there have been indie games that have popped off. This gives
Yeah,
me hope, yo.
it's
This
happening
gives me
more and
hope.
more.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like
This
honestly,
gives me hope.
Persona is pretty much an indie game. Persona
Us.
released on it released and
I
only
mean,
I don't actually know who made it.
even
Celeste.
before indie
That's a good
game though, you gotta
example
remember
too.
Flash games were big in this scene.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And Flash games are practically indie games. The only reason it took a hit for a while is because when Steam became a thing, Flash games died off.
Yeah, yeah, like
Yeah,
really
and
bad.
And
now
for them
with
to make the transition to Steam just took a while.
yeah. And practically all the Flash games are now indie games is what it is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Um,
It's been around for a lot longer than you think when
yeah.
you consider Flash games.
When you consider Flash games, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's true. There've been indie games like Celeste, another great example. Like Celeste
Yeah,
is a good idea on like the platformer concept. Like it tries to do a lot in the platformer space.
Yeah.
Honestly, it does. There's innovation there, right? There's story there as well. Don't forget that, right? You
Yeah.
know, there's and that gives me hope, yo. That gives me hope. The indie games.
Yeah. A lot of the real I feel like there's going to be a shift in terms of like what people are really looking for in games
Yeah.
from AAA. In AAA games, they're really just going to be looking for graphics and like just gameplay,
Yeah.
or like practically the same gameplay.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then
The gameplay that sells, yeah.
the real immersive stuff is going to come from like indie game studios.
Indie games, yeah, yeah. Or like those one-off AAA games, you
Yeah,
know, like your God of
like
Wars or
freaking
whatever.
Cyberpunk, right?
Yeah, yeah,
The
exactly.
studios that don't care how long it's gonna take and how much money they're gonna spend in it because they know
Yeah,
it's going to be extremely successful.
extremely
Like
successful, yeah.
GTA.
Yeah.
GTA 5 on release was pretty much about the story. The online was a meme at launch.
Yeah, yeah,
And it
it's
still
such
was
a
Yeah.
it was wildly successful. And then
yeah,
they made it like they made the multiplayer a meme.
yeah, yeah,
But it was practically about the story in GTA.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's true. Um, that's so true, yeah. GTA, bro. Yeah, and they know it, and you know they're allowed like. Honestly, GTA is not that bad a game. Like the story mode and stuff like that, it's
Yeah.
pretty good.
The story mode's like 70 hours and I heard the story is actually like pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good. Like the story itself is good. And they
You're
tried to do a lot.
FIB man.
You know, they
Yeah.
tried to do a lot with like, you know, like the different vehicles that you could have and like the different set pieces. You know,
Yeah.
Uncharted, like another good example of like your games that like will just come out and just be good. You know, try to
Yeah.
be crazy.
They're there. I feel like the
They're there.
only thing now is that people are scared to release a AAA game of a new thing.
Oh, but yeah, like a new kind of IP.
They
You
don't
know?
want like a new concept.
Yeah.
There's only a few of those that are coming out. Like we watched the PlayStation 5 thing, right?
Yeah, there was like nothing. It was like,
There was like one game, the game with
yeah.
like the ghosts, right? And that was
Yeah,
like the
yeah, yeah.
one AAA IP that's like doing something different.
Yeah.
They they're scared to do it because that's a big risk for a company
Yeah, that's a big risk. Yeah.
making a new AAA IP.
God of War. I mean,
What do you mean,
Assassin's
the
Creed
cat
Valhalla,
game?
bro.
Oh, the
Yeah,
cat
the
game.
cat game.
You play as a
think there-
cat, bro.
There was this one really great game that I know they had. Like it was like a role-playing third-person game. That game looked good, but it could be like, you know, could be terrible. Looks kind of like Breath of the Wild kind
Oh,
of
no.
system. Breath of the
Oh
Wild
yeah,
again, not a
yeah.
bad game. Breath of the Wild, not a bad game. You know,
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild like takes that whole 3D space kind of thing. Like, but you see, the thing about Breath of the Wild is that the open world is not the game.
Yeah,
That's
that's not
not
what
the
the
game.
game is about. It's not
Yeah,
the
the op-
focus of the game.
it's not the focus, and like it, and the set pieces in the game don't depend on the open world. Like Skyrim and Fallout depend on the open world.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
the selling point
they
of those
hinge it.
games is that it's a
Yeah.
massive open world.
Open world, yeah. That's why
Breath of the
Zelda
Wild
did a
is
pro gamer
that
move.
it's
bro.
Zelda.
Yeah, is that it's
That's the
Zelda?
Yeah.
selling point is that it's Zelda. You're gonna fight
Yeah.
Ganon.
Yeah, you're gonna fight Ganon, exactly.
Ganon's in Breath of the Wild, yeah?
Yeah, he's the final boss.
Okay.
Ganon is the
I know
final
nothing
boss
about
in,
that
like,
game.
He's the
I
final boss.
actually
in a lot
want to
of
play
Zelda
Breath
games.
of the Wild, yo. I think it's a game that I would like.
It's
You gotta
pretty
get
chill
a
game.
Switch, man.
Yeah, Switch is really expensive though.
Yeah,
No, isn't there?
especially-
You can't
well,
you get the Switch Lite version now?
Yeah, you can, but I don't know if you can connect controllers like externally to it. I don't know how the Switch Lite works, but also Switch prices went down up until Corona came out. Then it went up like really high. They like
Oh, yeah.
bumped back up Corona hike you because everybody was trying to buy a Switch to play Animal Crossing.
Oh Jesus, yeah. That gives me hope, yo. Damn. I didn't expect anything positive to come out of this conversation. I do have to say.
I never do, yo.
Damn, I can't believe that with the whole indie game thing, yo. That's amazing. I did
Yeah,
not.
this
I
is
just.
the stream, yo. We're not watching anime. Just
Yeah, this
upload
is the
this
stream.
discussion.
This is the stream. It's too late to watch anime now.
What do you mean? It's like 9.
It's 10.
It's 10. There's like 30 minutes left in the
We'll
stream.
finish 2 episodes by 11, bro. It's Saturday.
Alright, alright.
Hell yeah.
Yo, I have crap to do tomorrow.
Yo, what the hell?
I got homework.
Okay, we can not watch it. We don't have to. I mean, you know, I don't care.
This is it. No, this is the
Yeah,
stream.
this is a good
We're
stream.
talking.
This is the one time where we actually turned on the goddamn stream before we started talking.
Let me tell you, it's because the only reason we turned it on is because I was testing to see if it was coming on.
Oh man, that's fantastic.
You see that? It all
What are you gonna
works out.
title this, yo?
What do you mean? Three streamers discuss video games.
Three streamers discuss Dark Souls. Like, title it that, yo.
Wow, we kind of branched off.
Yeah, I know, but that's the whole point, right? Is to get the clickbait.
Well, no. It's three streams talk about video games. Subtitle: Dark Souls sucks.
That'll get him, yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of indie games, like
You're
I
summoning
can think of some
self-esteem.
more. I can think of some
Yeah,
more indie games
that have popped off, yeah.
that are popping
That have
off now. I think Disco Elysium is a game that came out recently that really
kept on
popped
the
off.
hype,
That's an
yeah.
indie game.
You're Temtem, bro.
Yeah, Temtem.
Honestly, yeah. Temtem.
Temtem popped off. There's a lot of them. It's coming up now, and
Dr.
it's different than
Mario.
Flash games because they're getting money for the games now.
Yeah.
That's
And
the
again,
big selling point is that they're doing what they want now and they're getting money for it.
like Temtem, like based on how Tate has described it, right? Like Temtem seems like good Pokemon, like Pokemon that's
It
actually
is.
good, you know?
So we
Yeah.
went back to indie games are going to be the one that innovate the AAA games.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Temtem's already working on it. Yeah.
Yeah, indie games leading the innovation.
It's the thing. Look, my issue is that get to a point of innovation where like things are like fun, you know, like it's actually like really fun. Like for Devil May Cry, for example, I don't need you to make it something different. I just need more Devil May Cry, like more of Devil May Cry, more of what you have right now, right? My issue with Dark Souls is that you give me more Dark Souls, I'll just get more upset. You know, like you
Yeah.
put more of Dark Souls in Dark Souls, I just get more upset, right? But I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. But I don't know how you could enjoy playing Dark Souls. I find it difficult to understand how you can enjoy playing Dark Souls versus anything else. What about that game is enjoyable? You know?
Yeah,
Other than
yeah.
the bosses. Other than the bosses, what about it is enjoyable?
That's practically
You
what
know?
Souls is. Souls for me,
Yeah.
at least, is just you get the super heaviest
Alright.
weapon and then you meme all the bosses.
Now I thought about this, right?
Uh-huh.
This Aris got me on this train of thought, right?
Mhm.
Because Aris replays Souls all the time,
Uh-huh.
right? And I was thinking about why he likes the game so much, why he replays it. And I think it's the same reason I replay Mega Man so much.
Uh-huh.
It's a game that you know it's gonna be entertaining. It's guaranteed. It's a safe game to play when you're bored. It's guaranteed to provide you with a decent amount of entertainment, no matter how many times you play through the game. Right? It's just a safe game to play. Like whenever I'm bored, yeah, I got nothing to do. I'll just play Mega Man 1, 2, or 3 again. No problem. Yeah, I don't mind. It's like I know I'm gonna enjoy my time doing that. Guaranteed, 100%.
That's an interesting point, right? And
It's just safe.
I feel like personally, and I do see people being able to do that, but just personally for me, right? I can generally not ever replay like any game that I've played. Like it's just a thing.
I mean, would
know?
you rewatch a show? I mean,
Generally-
you watch SpongeBob reruns or Avatar reruns when
Okay,
they were on
well-
TV, right?
Well, SpongeBob reruns and Avatar reruns, I can say that, but
It's the same concept. Though. It's like you're scrolling through the channels and you see it and you know that you're gonna enjoy watching that no matter what. So you go to it, you watch it, even though you've watched it a million times over. You know, it's the subconscious decision you're making. But
Okay,
I'm pretty sure that's the reason you'd make those decisions.
Yeah.
'Cause
while
you
I
know.
have done that, and that's true, I have done that. That was before I realized that I could actually truly enjoy myself by doing something else. Like,
Yeah.
there was a point in my life where like watching TV and crap like that, and like playing video games was the only forms of enjoyment I really knew about, right?
Right.
But then you pick up sports or like whatever, and you learn whatever, right? But
But I mean,
with
yeah,
Dark Souls, I assume like people are like, you know, it's a
Yeah,
similar
for
thing
some
where
people,
like
it's the thing where
Yeah.
instead of having their hobby be like art or something, their hobby is
Yeah.
enjoying video games.
yeah.
And
enjoys.
they
I
could,
guess
they could be enjoying Dark Souls.
And
I-
you gotta remember too, everyone gets in those moods once in a while where they're like, you know, you can't think of something you want to do on the spot. right? And
Yeah,
then because it's like, yeah, they replay the game, but it's not like they're replaying the game once a week or once a month. Right? It's like
yeah,
once every couple months, once a year, maybe,
yeah.
right? It's the same thing because it's like, in this moment, I don't want to do anything, so I'll just play Dark Souls. Why
Yeah,
not?
Yeah, I'll
yeah,
pop it and meme Sister Freed with a plus
yeah.
10 bleed dagger, you know?
My
Exactly. Yeah.
on the inside, I'm like, nah, don't do that. That's retarded. Don't waste your time, right? But the thing about it, if the game is having some people actually enjoy themselves, then it's okay for it to exist, right? But like the inner me is like, I hate Dark Souls so much. I'm like, don't
Yeah.
have that thing exist,
Yeah.
right? But if some people do enjoy it, like actually, might as well exist. It doesn't. It's serving some purpose,
Jesus.
right?
Oh God.
Think about it. Like in Dark Souls 3, you can play Dark Souls 3 and meme the entire game in different ways each playthrough,
Each
Yeah.
playthrough, yeah.
right? Like you could just bring that plus 10 bleed dagger through the whole game, right?
Which is what I'm gonna do. In Dark Souls 3, that's probably what I'm
And
gonna do. Yeah.
You
yeah,
could
I
you
mentioned
could
that
go like
before
fully
too.
into pyromancy, right? Go
Yeah.
into you could do soul level 1 runs, right?
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
ways of playing the game to find enjoyment out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why Dark Souls is good for that because there's a variety of ways to play. Order of bosses, your build, etc. Doing side quests or not. You know, there's a lot of
King,
different ways you can do things.
Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts. Better Dark Souls, bro. It's the exact same thing. You have armor, right? You got armor that you can switch between. You got weapons that you can switch between that do different things, right? But you got a whole bunch of different moves and crap that you could switch between, right? And then you got all of that crap. It's got bosses. It's slower. It's not completely action combat like Nier or Devil May Cry. It's slower, but it's still like just in between. Just in
Yeah.
between. Kingdom Hearts, better Dark Souls in every single way, yo. In every single way, yo. And
What?
that's a niche game too. What?
Yeah.
Not really. Kingdom Hearts has a
Well,
huge following.
It has a huge following, but like it doesn't have like a Dark Souls following. And it should. Why shouldn't it? If Dark Souls is
Yeah,
big,
but
why
it
shouldn't
hasn't. But again, it's the same thing. It hasn't been relevant for such a long
it? For
period
such a
of
long
time,
time?
right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's again the oversaturation, the mainstream of Dark Souls.
It's the
There's
mainstream
huge gaps in between Kingdom Hearts games.
yeah,
You know.
Kingdom Hearts
Yeah.
2 and Kingdom Hearts 3 was a massive gap.
Huge,
Yeah.
bro.
And
That
all
gap
the
was
filler
huge.
content, all of Kingdom Hearts filler content is trash. You
Yeah,
know,
it's
the
trash.
That was also
1.9,
part of it.
right?
It's bad. Yeah.
Dark Souls filler content is like huge.
Dark Souls filler
Souls
content is
1,
just
2,
Dark
3,
Souls.
Bloodborne, Sekiro,
Yeah.
right?
And
It's
the
crazy.
DLCs, right? The filler content is really the DLCs between the next Dark Souls games, and that's
What is and DLC on top of.
yeah, that's
What's that?
which
They
is
have
good.
like 5 games total starting from 2009 to now. 11 years, 5 games. That's like every 2 years is a new one. You know,
Yeah.
consistency.
Consistency, yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, you think you could pop out a Devil May Cry every 2 years? Pop out
Nah,
a
bro.
Nier every 2 years? Yeah.
Nah, bro.
You
Stories
can't
take a
do that.
long while to develop, bro.
Yeah.
Even The Last of Us, right? Last of Us was a game. I'm assuming they were planning on making the sequel, right?
Yeah.
And that crap took a long time to make.
Forever, bro.
Right?
Forever.
It takes
When
a
did I
while.
play that? I played that in high school.
It takes a
Yeah.
long
Closer
time.
to
That
the
was early
beginning of that.
2010s.
Yeah. What are we in 2020 now? That's like 10 years, bro. Like close to 10 years.
Yeah. It takes a long
What
time.
happens, man?
For a suckish game, yo, JDCR annihilated Last of Us.
Yo, that
His
crap
review
was
was
hilarious.
His review was the best review. He was like, the characters are just stupid, bro. They're just
Yeah.
stupid.
They don't play into their character type at all
Yeah.
that they established in the last game.
This is what happens when a fighting game player plays another game, bro. This is what happens, yo. Like a
that
fighting game
is
player,
trash.
their perspective is like, I'm gonna be intense about what I'm doing. Like fighting game players just generally like not casual-minded people. They're interested in what they're doing, fully invested, right? And he obliterated that crap, yo. That was the
Yeah.
most scathing review I think I've ever seen. That's the most scathing thing I think I've ever seen about anybody say about that game, yeah. And he's all correct. That's what I assume. He's all correct.
Oh yeah, he's correct.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's correct, man. Let me tell you, when characters do the most dumbest out of character things, it pisses me off so much. And that game is just filled with it. Yeah.
That's right.
Last of Us 2 is actually an interesting example of something that's happening now. People are defending that game simply because it's like a LGBT, BBQ friendly.
LGBT, yeah. Well,
Oh,
don't get it twisted. The media, like mainstream media, is generally defending it. Like actually, like IGN gave it a 10 out of 10. You know, that's mainstream.
this is the thing. At least with gamers specifically, is the mainstream media does not speak for the majority of
for the majority.
That's
like if we were talking about like
thing.
sports or like anything other than gaming, then yeah, usually they do speak for the majority, but not for gaming. People hate IGN and SVG,
hate that crap.
All those companies.
Hate that crap, yo. And when even the news says something like dumb about video games, people attack that crap. And that's another interesting concept. It's interesting that you mentioned that. I was just thinking about why that is, right? And I feel it's because gamers are physically invested in what you're talking about. They know a lot about what you're talking about. With politics and crap like that, it's easy to sway minds when people don't know all the details,
they're
right?
not physically invested in it.
Exactly. Like and this is why like quote unquote low IQ stupid people what have you, right? Like people say like all voters are stupid. No, people aren't stupid, right? They're just not like invested in all the details, right? Let me tell you, anybody, that's why the majority of gamers, right? It's a large spectrum of people, and everybody's saying that Last of Us 2 sucks, right? Everybody's saying that just because they know all the details, they have played the game or they watched it, right? Which is what the smart people do, right? You just watch that crap, right? And they're like, yeah, this crap is trash. You know, it's trash.
Yeah, Donkey gave it a 9 out of 10.
I love that guy. Oh my god, yeah, that's too good, yeah. Freaking Donkey.
That game, 9 out of 10
dunk points. I gotta watch his review on that. Yeah, that camp is gonna be fun.
Yeah, I gotta watch that too.
He's a stoner,
yeah.
9 out of 10, bro.
I think he's one of those few people that can just say crap and always get away with it. Because you never know if he's serious or he's memeing.
Or not. Yeah, or not. He did not like Death Stranding, though. He did not like Death Stranding.
Oh, yeah, it was obvious that he didn't like that. It was like very obvious. That was sarcastic.
He hated Death Stranding, bro. But yeah, that's interesting. They're personally invested in the details, yo. So their minds can't be like twisted like that, you know? Or like you can't have other people speaking for them. People hate IGN, bro. You're right.
Yeah. It's cause they're physically invested. You remember that video where it's like find the fake gamer in that room? Right?
Oh yeah.
It's like it's like you're able to tell immediately because people are physically invested in those games. Yeah. You're able to like immediately tell.
Yeah.
Well, this is the difference. This is why gamers don't rely on mainstream media, because everything, any opinion that anyone has, they can just test it for themselves. Just play the game and write. But like with things like sports and stuff, you can't really understand what competitive
it's like.
Football is like if you're like just a watcher. You just have to take their word for it, right? Gamers have the ability to just do whatever the hell they want in this community and like think for themselves and have their own opinion on crap, you know?
That's a special kind of thing as well. That's a special dynamic, you know?
Yeah.
It's very accessible, like ultimately accessible to everybody. Games are ultimately accessible to like everybody, you know? Practically.
Yeah.
And that's powerful. This is what I always say, yo. Video games, bro, it's the ultimate medium of storytelling. Like the ultimate medium of storytelling. It's so good. It's so good, dude.
You can make a game accessible to practically anybody.
Anybody.
Regardless of like disability or anything.
Yeah,
like, any person you could make a game for. You can't do that in like any other medium.
Yeah. What happened, man?
Games, man. Video games are powerful, man.
Yeah.
This is why it annoys me when people do things that disrespect video games. Like, you know, like my brother was saying, like, you know, he asked me like what sports I think I'm good at, right? And I freaking said Tekken, right? And man was like, yo, that crap isn't a sport, right? But I can break it down for you. Why like fighting games, right, are just as much of a sport as literally like any other sport,
Yeah.
bro. That crap is so crazy. It's so crazy.
Yeah.
The
It's
only
so
thing,
crazy.
see, sport, it just means physical is the thing.
Yeah, yeah.
So
People just think physical, but like I think it's even more powerful, more competitive, right? Than an
yeah,
actual sport because there's less limiters to who can be involved in it,
yeah,
right? In games,
Yeah.
everybody can be involved. That means the total net competition is much more high, right?
yeah.
Because you have so many people, so the likelihood of more people
It's
being good, is
yeah.
high. It's as
Yeah.
simple
And
as
there's so
that.
many
And
more
it's
things you
always
can do.
the same
Yeah.
concept. It's a mix of strategy and execution,
And
right?
execution, yeah.
But the thing with physical is that that execution is varied on like a lot of crap that you don't control,
You
like
don't
Yeah.
control.
genetics,
It's
Yeah,
right?
intrinsic.
yeah.
Yeah, you know,
And
you just
inaccessible to a lot of people. Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. But the,
But
the
it's the
execution
same
for
thing.
video game. That's why, like, I want Michael Jordan to pick up Tekken. I would sauce this guy, bro. Because that's my thing. That's my thing, right? You got these people who play sports like Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan. I watched a documentary on Kobe Bryant, right? And
Yeah, that
that's
guy's
when I
good.
understood the competitive mindset. Like, like like Kobe Bryant said that he knew he would be the best, or he knew he would win, or whatever, right? Because he knows how much he was willing to give up for the game, right? That's the competitive mindset. Like you give it
Yeah,
your absolute all, right? So a person like Michael Jordan, and Michael Jordan is a complete meme, right? Because this dude is competitive in everything he does. He plays pools with you, ultra competitive. He plays
yeah.
golf,
He
Yeah.
played
ultra
golf,
freaking
yeah.
yeah. Oh, like people get annoyed with him about how competitive he is up to this day, ultra competitive, which is why he's so successful in terms of economically, because he's probably like ultra competitive with that crap too, right?
Yeah.
Owns his own NBA team, by the way. They suck. That's funny. Anyway, um I would love for him to play Tekken.
Yeah.
I would absolutely, because it's a completely even playing field, yo.
Yeah.
It's completely even
I
play.
I
I
will
don't
say
have
though,
uh
when in terms of like physical activity,
yeah.
it it's a different sort of feeling than being competitive. Well, at least for me, it feels
Uh
different than being competitive in a game like Tekken or something else, where
I,
physically you have full control over your body
yeah.
and you can physically will your body to go even further,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like in Tekken, you can't physically will your jab to be faster,
Well,
Yo.
I I could
right?
I can agree with you
In terms
there,
of like
right?
just the player mindset,
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah.
it's a different sort of intensity. I
Yeah.
feel.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
can definitely agree with you there, but if you're like an ultra winner, right? If you're like an ultra winner, it doesn't matter what the parameters are, you're gonna like try to win,
yeah,
right? And why I mentioned Michael Jordan, right, is his only reason. If you asked him, his only reason, if you asked him, could you beat like the people that are playing now? His only reason that he would mention for why he couldn't is because he's old. He would
Yeah.
be like, if I was young, I'd still destroy all of them, right? Play Tekken. Play Tekken. You could destroy all of them right now. You have all the tools to be just as good as anybody else. Go do it.
Yeah, yeah.
Freaking go do it.
yeah.
But
Freaking
yeah,
go do it.
but that's what I feel like is sort of the limiter on it,
Yeah.
is
Uh-huh.
that like if you go into a boxing match, right?
Uh-huh.
You can physically you could really try to like
Yeah, yeah,
force
yeah,
your
yeah,
body to do something, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
But in Tekken, you can't like force
But
yourself to
You
really
can't.
do
I
something.
mean, the thing is, though, right? It's as I said, though, it's just execution. It's just the difference in execution,
Yeah,
right?
it's a
Yeah.
different type of
It's a
execution.
different type of. That's all. That's the only thing that's different. It's a different type of
Yeah,
execution.
everything
Nevertheless, you
else is the
have to
same.
execute. You
Yeah,
know.
Yeah. Yeah. But my only thing is that the level of your execution is not based on like uh genetics, right? It's
yeah,
based on
It's
how
based
smart
Yeah.
you are
yeah.
and how much you practice.
Yeah, it's
You
a
know.
different type of
Um.
execution is what it is.
Yeah. And it's not like I don't, because at the top level of any sport, you don't have, except for basketball. I think basketball is a flawed sport, but that's a different story. But at the highest level of any sport, right, with an asterisk, you can't blame on genetics because you're the cream of the crop, right? You're all at
Yeah.
about the same
Yeah.
level where the marginal gain in genetics is like whatever,
Yeah.
right? But that's why I like Tekken is because like there's not that issue.
Yeah.
You know, any like schmo could like practice and just try to be smart, have game sense, and be very
Yeah.
very good.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
any person, literally anybody. You know, and I think like for like people like Michael Jordan, like ultra winners, I wanna see. It's an experiment for me personally. I want to see like these ultra winners, right? Go freaking play fighting games. Play Tekken. Let's see how far you get. Because if you're that much of an ultra winner, they would have to become close to being the best. Like
Yeah.
they would have to. And I
Honestly,
just, yeah,
yeah, I feel like the thing is for people that actually play the sports, right?
yeah,
I know for me, right? At least I it's not the same type. Like I
yeah,
don't think I could get into Tekken the
Yeah.
same way,
the same way.
right?
Yeah, yeah,
It and for people that watch sports and really get into that, they would
yeah,
probably really enjoy playing fighting games, like
yeah,
actually, because
yeah, yeah,
that's less about you
yeah.
don't have that same experience. It's I don't know if intimate is the right word
Mhm.
when you're like when you're actually
Actually,
there
it's
and you're
there
doing
in
it.
the yeah, yeah. I definitely
It's a
see what you're
completely
saying,
different experience.
Mm.
but it's just my personal. I wouldn't really consider myself an ultra winner or competitor. I'm not an ultra winner, I can tell you that for sure. But not really like an ultra competitor, but for me personally, right? Anything that I play, I want to win in it. Like it doesn't matter. Like the reason I choose Tekken is because I know that I have the ability to do it. Like there's nothing holding me back. You know, like intrinsic holding me
Yeah.
back. Like anything I
Yeah.
need to do, I could actually do it. But let's say I could do that in like tennis or like basketball, I would hella be playing that crap right now. Like right now, I would literally be doing it, right? And I get the sense that's a taste of what that mentality is, right? That for you, right, where you're like you don't feel the same thing. Ultra winners, like let me tell you, this guy will play like recreational pool and be ultra competitive. Like this guy would probably love Tekken, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, and he trash talks a lot. Like get into the arcade, bro. Start to
Mm.
like let me. He probably get hype. You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
But
The only
that's the community aspect of it, though.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
he'd probably love the community aspect of Tekken, but playing the game itself is different. You know,
I don't know, man.
that's a non-physical thing you're doing. That's a complete. It's again the difference in execution. Now, would he have the
The
same
same drive
interest? Yeah,
for
the
Yeah.
for
same
that.
drive.
I,
Yeah,
I I I get the sense. I get the sense that as an ultra winner, it wouldn't matter. That's my assumption. I don't know, but
mm.
you know that would be the thing, right?
Yeah,
I
it could be
my,
that he just really likes physical things.
yeah,
Yeah,
it could
yeah,
be, but like that's my thing about like the fighting game scene. I don't think that has existed a person in the fighting game scene that's like that. That's I don't know. Nobody talks like that. Like that's that ultra winner kind of guy.
yeah.
Proud my
Because there's
the
never been such a dominant force in fighting.
in fighting games, yeah, like I want to say like Knee and JDCR and stuff like that, but when you see how those guys play
Nah, yeah.
Tekken and stuff like that, I don't think so. Like
Because
when you're
even
ultra,
then, they lost. They lost to
yeah,
Arslan. They lost to
yeah,
Crudons. You know, there's
yeah.
always people that are constantly topping. You know,
And that's the thing is like if they were really like that, they would play Tekken like all day, every day,
all
all
yeah,
the time. No matter
Yeah.
how popular, how non-popular, they would be playing all the time. All like when you hear about how like Michael Jordan and like Kobe Bryant like practice and stuff like that, like that's that crap is like unheard of for like normal people. I mean
yeah,
that's some wild crap. I don't feel like there has existed a person for Tekken, who has sacrificed so much for just the game. You know.
Yeah.
Um.
I think that again comes into the
Yeah.
execution standpoint, right?
Yeah.
Because even in Tekken, there's sort of a cap on how good you can be in terms of execution, just physically. Each person has a different cap on like just their reaction time, right?
Yeah.
And in
Guess.
Tekken, you're not limited on your body's performance as much,
Yeah.
right? If you're practicing for basketball or football, you have to practice every day to keep your entire body in like peak condition to perform, right?
And the harder you practice, the better that you're gonna actually get. While in Tekken, it's not as congruent.
In Tekken,
right?
once you know the matchup, it's the learning curve is learning the matchup, right?
Yeah.
And once you learn the matchup, you know it, right? For us, right? We know a lot of the matchups. That's why we don't need to practice that much anymore.
Yeah.
Right? Whoa.
So
we know a lot of the memes. We know a lot of the memes, at least.
Yeah.
So you don't. No. I know the Fang memes.
No, I don't know any memes. Have you ever seen me play online?
I know a lot of the memes. Actually,
I know quite a few memes at this point. All right, so it's like you don't need to practice that anymore. Like Tekken has a countable number of things that you need to practice, and then once you practice those things, you'll be factually like just good at Tekken, right?
Yeah. While in sports, it's an uncountable number of things.
In sports, you're constantly deteriorating if you're not practicing. Like you're physically deteriorating.
Yeah. That's an interesting point. And that's why like in Tekken, like the main thing is really like mind games, like how much you understand your opponent and stuff like that. While I guess like at least in some sports, that's not exactly that much of a big part of it.
Yeah, which is an interesting thing to bring up in the eSports thing, is that in competitive shooters, there are people that are more like that than in fighting games like Tekken, because they're physically training themselves to do flicks and maneuvers of that nature a lot. Like they actually spend time like every day.
Like hours upon hours upon hours. Yeah, like they go in. Yeah, that seems like that would be true.
That is the flaw of competitive fighting games. Is usually at the highest level, the only thing you really need to do is just adapt to your opponent, learn your opponent. That's all you're really doing at the highest level. Because you don't worry about execution. You don't worry about matchup.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Right.
Yeah, and I could see why that would not be as interesting for a person like like a Jordan.
But that also is what gives it its accessibility.
It's accessibility.
Exactly. You could be however you want, and you could practically play fighting games, right?
And you
can't really do that on the same level in shooters, right? Like they had that whole comparison between pad shooters, right, and people on keyboard and mouse, right? And there's just no competition. In Tekken, you have someone like Little Majin on just a dual shock controller, right? Fighting against people on hitboxes and fighting in arcade and all kinds, like whatever nonsense they're using these days, right? And just winning, because it's not about the execution physically. It's just about the game.
And this is a good point, right? Because the ability to practice and not deteriorate and all these things, like trying to overcome the infinite amount of things that you need to practice, right, causes you to be obsessive and become that ultra obsessive, ultra winner kind of guy. While in Tekken or fighting games, not only do you not have to do that, the game doesn't even encourage you practicing like that. In fact, being better at the game does not encourage you practicing like that, which as a result would make you less obsessive.
That's why everybody in fighting games are stoners.
Yeah,
right? Literally everybody's a stoner.
It all goes back to that whole thing. Fighting games is an offline community. That's why locals exist for every game.
For every game, that's true.
Right. Every fighting game, everything. The whole thing is based off of online.
Yeah.
That's where they get their drive,
Yeah. Damn, yeah. Well, that's interesting. I think I could still like, given the opportunity, like the perfect circumstances where I could do it, I would obsess over Tekken. Yeah, I would straight obsess over Tekken. Yeah, I would become the greatest Tekken player ever.
I would
Oh
never do
no.
that. Yeah,
I would win the
I would
50,000.
never do. I wouldn't do that with anything in the world. Yeah, I told you, man. I'm a simple farmer.
I just
Yeah.
that's the thing is I enjoy competition just so much that I would do it. I just love like I already started a bet with my brother for tennis. Yeah, like literally
Oh no.
already did that. And that's physical, by the way. And
Yeah.
like, I'm just applying fighting
Man
game
is a maniac.
concepts. I'm applying fighting game concepts to it to achieve the goal. So this is like an experiment for me. Like, I'm just straight applying like fighting game concepts. There's this guy that I have to beat, right? And he's good. He's not exactly good right now, but he used to be good, and he could get to that level. Um, and like I'm, applying fighting game practically like Tekken concepts, right? Like, okay, when he does this, what is every moment in the game where I'm not optimal, and how do I get close to optimal? Learning things that give me the net benefit for winning
Oh,
the match. Like what parts of his game can I take advantage of? How do I lead him into those sections? How do I defend against the things that he has advantage on? Like all like I'm just applying like straight fighting game concepts to this crap, right?
Yeah.
What's a lucky? I'm a genius, right? Since I jump roped, right, my stamina has increased just a little bit, right, to where I don't burn out like immediately. So the physical aspect of it is like because the at this level, um, I don't need a high like other than stamina. I don't need a high physicality in anything else,
Yeah.
right? I don't like need like huge biceps or anything, especially at this level, right? So stamina was the only thing I kind of needed, and I have some of it, right? So like I'm free to just apply Tekken concepts without the whole physical part of it, being a
you know
huge
that
factor in my
that's the
victory.
thing. Is it's not even that you're applying Tekken concepts. You're
Yeah.
applying just basic strategy. This
Basic,
is what it's
yeah,
always been
yeah,
about. I
yeah,
watched a video the other day. You know who Sun Tzu is? The Art of War, that dude?
Yeah.
yeah,
The whole
yeah,
philosophy of war. Yeah. I was watching a video of like Dream who plays Minecraft. He's a speedrunner, right? And he
uh,
makes all these videos where his friends have to
Yeah.
try and kill him
yeah,
before he beats the game, right?
uh,
And like all the strategies he uses in the game to like stop his friends from killing him or killing them back and stuff like
yeah,
that. And he was like flashing back to like Sun Tzu quotes of like the art of war and just basic strategy principles, and
yeah,
then flashing it back to how he's using it in Minecraft as a game. I'm like, all of this stuff, even fighting games, as new as it is, and
yeah.
all these new strategies and very
Concepts
specific things
evolved
that
and
you
things.
do, the concepts have always been there, right?
Yeah.
And same thing for sports, and it's the same concepts. It's always been there. The same strategies, the same principle. It's always the same thing, and a
That
lot of
gave
it
me
is
goosebumps,
just
yo. That's
very
crazy.
logical. A lot of it is
Yeah,
just straight common sense stuff. If you just thought about it for a minute, it's like, yeah,
yeah.
that makes perfect sense, you know?
Which makes a lot of sense because we sucked when we started playing Tekken or like in
Yeah,
fighting games in general, right? But as we learned like these concepts, right, of like what
yeah.
is actually important to winning, right? That's why I always compare everything to
It's
Tekken, right? It's because you
But
use that
that's the
like
thing.
everywhere.
It's
Yeah.
not that we were learning the strategies whilst we were playing Tekken. We
Uh-huh.
knew those strategies all along from all the other games and all the other stuff we've done.
Yeah, yeah,
It was applying it to Tekken.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
what we
yeah,
worked on. It was
yeah,
figuring out how this relates to this game now.
yeah,
Right? And that's what and that's the same thing. It's as you said with your experiment. It's the same thing with
yeah.
tennis, physical sports, mental sports, whatever it is. It's
Whatever.
always the
Yeah,
same thing. All you're really learning is how to apply those same strategies to this
yeah,
new medium.
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
This is it, yo.
Yeah.
This is it. Sun Tzu, yo. He knew
Sun
all
Tzu.
along.
Keep it in mind, Sun Tzu, bro, our boy, our boy. But
Oh
this
yeah.
is what I told him. This is what I told him, right? I told him, or this is what I alluded to, because he doesn't believe that I can do it, right? For some,
Right.
I don't think it's not exactly that he doesn't believe I could do it. He thinks I'm a little bit in over my head, right? That's
Right.
what he
Right.
thinks. Like I make it sound like very simple. Like I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I win, right? And he's like, nah, you kind of don't understand what's going on here. Like this is a little bit different. But that's what I was trying to allude to him is that the
Yeah.
things that I know now, think just because because of the things that I know now. No matter what physical negatives I have, right? Whatever, at the level we're at right now, just by knowing the things that I know, if I apply them, I will win because they are that powerful. You know, these
Right.
things are just that powerful that once I apply them, I will eventually win. And it's not going to be too long from now. You know, it's not going to be too long from now. I am
Yeah.
going to win. But that's the experiment, right? Is that
Yeah.
if I could do it based on just that crap, yeah, and that would
Yeah.
be so hype, yeah. That would be so hype. Because that means you could get to a fairly advanced level at any skill by learning
Yeah.
how to apply like these things, right?
Well, as long as it's not too physically demanding.
Demanding,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
That's
As
the
long as you
only
don't have
the
to
only limit.
overcome that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the
Because
barrier.
that was my issue. Like throughout life,
Yeah.
there's always something that you want to do for whatever reason, right? But you always
Yeah.
feel like, oh, you can't do it, or like there's always all these barriers and like things, whatever,
Hmm.
right? But like as you learn these things, you realize, nah, bro, you could do whatever the hell
Yeah.
you want to do. You know,
That's
you could
why
be pretty good, in
getting
fact.
into like competitive table tennis is
Yeah,
like so easy, right? Because
yeah,
it's
yeah,
not that physically demanding.
yeah,
You know,
yeah. I
Yeah.
love
you just
table tennis,
you
yo, for the same
practice the
reason I love Tekken.
moves, you think about the game, and
Yeah.
that's all you need. Yeah, simple as that.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It just gets harder the more the sport is physically.
Oh, yo, we should
Yeah.
play table tennis. I love
Like,
table tennis, bro. Oh
hey, it
my
doesn't
god.
matter how much you think of sumo wrestling, bro. You're not beating anybody off of just mental
Off
power,
of
bro.
Sun Tzu
Yeah,
philosophy.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's
Like,
not gonna work.
yeah, like football.
yeah,
You're not gonna be a
yeah.
linebacker, man.
Yeah, yeah.
No,
You're
man.
not gonna be like
You can have
that.
Yeah,
that philosophy.
But yeah, yeah, yeah. You're right. But that again, that I love table tennis for that crap. Yeah, I freaking
yeah, yeah.
love table tennis for that crap.
I find a lot of the interests I have are things like that.
Um,
Video games, things like art. Anyone
yeah,
could do that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Chess, right? Things that is just accessible to everybody.
It's just accessible to everybody. Yeah, yeah. That's why, like, flexing in sports is kind of weird to me. At a, like flexing in sports that have a lot to do with genetics is kind of a weird
Right.
thing to me at
Yeah.
beginner and intermediate levels because I'm like, you've got to be retarded, dude. You're dunking. I could barely come off of the floor, bro. Do you think I would ever be able to be? Why are you? What is the purpose
Yeah.
of you flexing? You know, like
Yeah.
what is the go fight other people that can dunk, yo. Then you can flex on them. When you're at a similar skill level to people, that's when you're allowed to
Yeah.
flex, bro. Otherwise, it's like you're just memeing. I
Yeah.
understand. At least tell me if you're memeing. You know, if I understand if you're memeing, I would meme too. But don't like actually like think that this means anything. It doesn't.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't mean anything. You know.
They're on a power trip, man.
Yeah. It's just a weird thing. It's just a weird thing, you know. Like, but let me tell you, I'm gonna try hella trash talk when I play tennis. But yo, I'm gonna be freaking in there, bro, because everybody is better than me right now, bro. I'm gonna trash talk while losing, like so hard, bro. Oh my
Man is
god, dude.
LTG.
Yeah, I'm literally
He's
LTG.
doing strings.
Yeah, man. And it's funny because tennis is like the first perfect piss off sport, bro. You get so mad in tennis, bro. It's so easy to get mad in tennis, bro. It's so easy,
Yeah.
right? It's so good, yo. Let me tell you, I'm gonna be so annoying. Yeah,
Oh,
everybody's gonna hate
no.
playing me. I'm gonna pop
Man's
off, yo. It's
triggering
gonna.
people in tennis.
I'm gonna pop like this is the best part too. I'm gonna play randoms, bro. I'm gonna play randoms in tennis and pop off on these fools, bro.
Your key jump.
Yo, I'm gonna keep joining these
You gotta
fools,
do a
bro.
backflip.
Yeah, I would straight play randoms in tennis, yo. Oh my god. That would be too funny. Because tennis is very similar to Tekken in the fact that I was telling you guys this is that unless you're advanced at a certain skill, people can punish you for trying to do it. Like
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah.
People will destroy you for trying to do it. Um like for example, like in basketball, if you could kind of dunk, nobody's gonna punish you for kind of dunking. Nobody's gonna be able to do that. But in tennis, bro, if you're like your forehand is kind of good, people will destroy you for that. And the better you try to get at it, the more you get destroyed. That's why watching professional tennis is the funniest crap ever, bro. It's a funny because as soon as somebody does something that like they kind of mess up on it, they get obliterated for that crap. Yeah,
Yeah.
obliterated, and then they get mad afterwards. It's funny.
Tennis, but tennis is a meme.
Yeah, tennis is.
You can't coach in tennis, yeah.
What do you mean?
You hit
Didn't
the
Oh
ball
yeah, you can't.
properly.
You can't.
you
Yeah,
can't, yeah. That's
yeah,
so stupid. Why?
What are
you
you
can't
gonna
coach in
tell
tennis.
him? You hit the ball properly.
No, no, no. There's a lot. There's actually a lot.
No,
Like,
there is, but
yeah, it's
it's so
ten.
stupid.
Tennis is pretty crazy because a lot of what another person can see about you, it's hard to see it about yourself. Um, it's one of those things.
I think all games shouldn't allow coaching. I hate that fighting games allow coaching.
I love the fighting games a lot because it doesn't matter, bro. Like you in a
Well,
fighting game, there's nothing you could tell a dude that's gonna make him win you. I'm
yeah.
telling you, there's nothing.
Well,
you
yeah,
can...
it's that whole thing of like you have to come up with the strategy and then you have to execute. You can't just think of it, right?
Yeah.
But the
It's...
problem is like coming up with the strategy is still a part of the success plan.
Yeah.
And as I said before, when you get to the high level of fighting games, all you're doing is just adapting to your opponent.
Yeah.
So by having a coach just do that for you or help you with that, you're taking away a lot of the competitive side of it.
I guess, but I mean, I don't exactly know because, especially like in fighting games, when you apply like, oh, I'm gonna apply this mind game to this person to get him in this direction, you have to pre-lab out all the different mechanics of that to know generally what you have to do and how to adapt when things go wrong.
Yeah.
Right? So if somebody just tells you, oh, this guy's doing lows at this point every time, right? You'll be like, oh, okay. As soon as you block it the first time, they start switching things up and the options branch out. You have no clue what the hell is going on anymore. So like that's why I say like that's why I feel like when you look at Knee and JDCR and crap, nobody comes over there and whispers crap to them, bro. They know everything. It's not gonna help them. And when you don't know anything, it's not gonna help you either. I don't even think it helps you when you kind of know something.
If you need a coach to tell you what you have to do,
you're probably already
it's not
screwed.
gonna. Yeah, because then they're just gonna change something, and then you're not gonna know what to do anymore. If you need a coach to do that, it's not gonna help you.
That's why, like, let me tell you, if y'all are ever with me when I'm playing like Tekken, I want you to come.
I'm hella coaching.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, I'll
man.
hit you. You got a key charge after you hit him.
Don't you remember, yo, when we went to that local? I was coaching you, man.
Oh my god! Let me tell you,
Man,
you got it.
I got
You
washed,
got it.
yo, and no, we didn't say nothing. We just watched it happen.
You got it. What you gotta do? What you gotta do is whisper, but whisper it like mad loud, bro. You got it.
Yo, let me tell you, the funniest thing about that whole experience was when we first went. And I was fighting that dude, freaking Jay Breeze, yeah? Is that his name?
Yeah.
Jay Breeze,
Yo,
JJ.
I didn't know that he was really good, so I was trash talking him and memeing him the whole time. And then I was like, wait a minute. It was really funny.
Oh my god, this is what fighting games are about, bro. Like, let me tell you, I will never not absolutely love fighting games. And I feel like the local scene could get destroyed. Nothing is permanent. But I really hope it doesn't. I really hope it does, number one. But number two, I feel like there's something intrinsic about being in somebody's face in a fighting game that draws people to it, and because there's a draw to it, people will engage in the activity.
Yeah.
People will engage.
It's the social aspect that draws people in. And then the competitive thing is that it's one thing to lose to someone, but it's a whole other thing to lose when you know they're right there.
They're right there. Yeah.
With you, physically with you.
Yeah.
It pushes you to want to do better. You don't want to lose that situation.
Yeah.
Because, like, it's again, like, if Call of Duty, you die and you lose to someone, it doesn't matter. You're never going to talk to those dudes again. Who cares, right? But if that dude is there at your local that you go to every week, now it's serious.
No,
It
it's
means
serious.
something
It's so serious. You look
Yeah.
that person in the eye every time you go there.
every time.
Oh my god, I
And
love that kind.
especially if they talk trash too.
Yeah,
You're
I
gonna
love
have
it.
to see that person and to hear their crap every
Every
time.
time,
Yeah.
every
Yeah.
time. Yeah, this is why this is one of my problems with tennis. You're so far away from the other guy, it's hard to talk trash. I'll find a way though. I'll
Nah,
find a
you
way.
gotta emote.
And tennis is kind of like a gentleman sport, like professionally, where the contestants don't the people who are playing don't talk to each other like at all. Like they don't. Like there's no trash
Hmm.
talk in tennis.
Nah, man.
That's why basketball is so funny, bro. I've always wanted. Let me tell you, I wish if I could get good at basketball, I would talk so much trash, bro. Oh my god. Oh my freaking god, yeah, it would be so funny,
Yeah.
bro. I would get into fights on the basketball court because of memes, bro. Let me tell you, it would make sense to learn jujitsu,
Yeah.
man. Because like you get into a fight, right? You wrap this fool up,
Oh,
you slap
man.
him, right? And then you get up and then you laugh at them, and then you talk even more trash,
You get
bro.
a red
All,
card off the
all,
field.
all of their friends would laugh at them, bro. It would be so funny. It would be so funny. I have missed so like. Let me tell you, that should be a comedy series, bro. That should be a
No.
comedy series. A person trash talking, but the problem is, you gotta be good. You got to actually be good, bro.
Nah,
And
man.
I'm
All you gotta
terrible at
do,
that.
you see someone coming up for a 3-pointer, you hit him with the, you're gay.
Just the
He'll miss 100% of the time. Yeah?
Oh my god! Welcome to LeBron James. Tricky.
Oh my god. Just snakehead, Jimbo. You just gotta use meme tactics.
You gotta throw sand in their face, bro.
Hell yeah.
Hit him with the Tony Ferguson sand toss, bro.
You gotta
Hell
try to
yeah.
give him the handshake.
Yeah. Give him the handshake, bro. Let me
Hit
tell
him
you,
with the look away, bro. The look away was 100% work. Yeah.
Oh, man. Let me tell you,
You
yo.
gotta start twerking on him.
That would be the reason I
Yeah.
would love to learn how to play basketball. I would try, and that's the thing about basketball. People always try to play with you because the basketball personality, attitude, culture is so retarded, bro. Let me say, basketball players are some of the most retarded people ever. Like they actually will engage in trash talk with you. I've seen it
Yeah.
happen. It's
Yeah.
so good, yo. It's so good, yo.
People into sports in general get like really passionate over that crap for
Yeah.
no reason.
That's why you want to be good, so you can mess with people, yo. Like if I had the physicality for basketball, which I sort of do, but I just don't have the stamina really. And it takes a lot of practice as well. Like you got the physicality, so you apply some Sun Tzu to that boy,
Yeah.
and you get like decently good at like the recreational
Yeah.
level. You just
Yo,
trash
apply
talk.
some Sun Tzu.
Yeah,
bro.
you gotta apply the Sun
Just
Tzu, man. You
slap
have
it
to
on
apply
you.
the Sun Tzu. Yeah, just slap that boy up. Some art of war, bro?
You let me tell you,
You
I have the
stole the
physicality for
Shaw 1, bro?
basketball.
Huh?
Hell no, you don't. You're too short. You
Nah,
stole.
man.
No,
Nah,
you
man.
kind of do actually. You kind of do. Like, nah, you're more of a football type. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
really
if
not
you're not tall,
basketball.
like
Yeah.
literally, if you're not tall, you don't have the
Yeah.
physicality for it. Just
um,
immediately.
like LeBron James is probably like the optimal physicality for basketball. Like, he's super tall, right? But he's gigantic. Like, this dude is
Yeah.
6'8", like 200, like 80 pounds, bro. Man is a tank. He's fast. He's lightning fast. Used to play football. I mean, that's how fast he is. Like super athletic. He's got the shot and he's got the dunk. He's got the speed. He's got like everything, bro. That's why a lot of people say. Let me tell you, if you post this up online, like this, what I'm about to say, we just said immediately get like a crap ton of basketball retarded views, right? But like people say that like, oh, Michael Jordan is like the GOAT, the greatest of all time in basketball, right? And I'm like, yeah, in terms of championships, sure, or whatever, right? But there's no way he's a better player than LeBron in any way. He's definitely not a better player. Michael Jordan's a paperweight in comparison to LeBron. You know? LeBron would run through those fools. Like if LeBron played back in the day, yo, he would tank through like all of them. Just walk through like all. He's a gigantic human being. Yeah, he's
That's how you
huge.
do it.
Who would
Sick.
stop? Who would stop him? You know, really think about
Man's
that.
in a
Who would
different
stop
weight
that guy?
class.
Shaq would stop him.
Which is exactly why Shaq was so dominant. Except Shaq was a retard and he never trained. Kobe sauced this guy for that. Kobe was like, yo, if Shaq actually trained properly, we would have had like 9 championships, like easy.
Yeah.
Shaq could have been the best player ever if he actually trained. But you know how many free throws that retard missed, yo? You know how many free throws that retard missed, yo? Not the free throws aren't hard for when he's that big, but there's ways to get around it, right? Shaq would have been the best player ever, and LeBron is like just a smaller Shaq. You know, that's just really what he is. LeBron's gigantic. LeBron's just like gigantic, bro. Man is huge.
Yo, Aris is playing Super Mario World. Yeah.
Oh god.
Oh,
I gotta
no.
watch this playthrough, man.
Man's gonna quit on it because he can't shoot upwards, bro.
Yeah.
Yo, honestly, why the hell does he love Mario? Man, this man just has it out for Mega Man.
Yeah, no,
he retarded.
He probably just does. Like honestly, his parent probably just doesn't take it for whatever, and that's what he blames it on. You know. Yeah, like everybody's like, oh, LeBron, whatever he loves
Yeah.
championships. Nobody cares, bro. He's definitely 100% better than Michael Jordan. Obviously, he's better than Michael Jordan. Are you retarded? Not to mention the difference in rules back then. Back in the day, you could only do isolation defense, one-on-one defense. Like you couldn't do zone defense. So like, you had a man and you had to guard them back in the day. Like you had to do that. You had to one-on-one people. Imagine LeBron going one-on-one. Yeah, my God. Jesus Christ. Yeah, that would be too funny. That would be too funny. They used to do this play back in the day where like Michael Jordan would be like in a corner with his man and all of his other teammates would be in like the back left of the court. So they all had their opponents like right next to them. And they could go. I'm not even joking. That's a real thing. They had to ban it, bro. They had to ban it, bro. Oh my God, that's funny. That's too funny. And Will Chamberlain was probably better than LeBron anyway as well, to be honest. Will Chamberlain, bro, that man was gigantic, bro. What the hell?
Yeah.
Oh, man, we should do a basketball podcast, yo.
Damn, Aris is good.
Basketball is garbage. I'm not watching that trash.
I hate basketball.
Yo, upload this crap as a podcast.
Yo, let me tell you,
this isn't even a freaking whatever the hell.
Sports are trash.
Garbage, yeah. Sports are not entertaining at all.
You ever get invested in a sport?
Hell.
UFC is the only one.
Yo, I'm not even invested in that garbage. I did fighting, and UFC's trash.
I've been invested in sports before. When you get emotionally attached, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Like when you get that's where the intensity comes from. It's like when you get emotionally attached to a team winning for whatever reason. You know, like when Tony Ferguson lost, for example, I felt like physically sad because I wanted him to win, right? So and when you get emotionally attached like that, that's where the intensity comes from. So you're super happy when they win, but you're super sad when they lose, right? And if you get to that point, that's what happens, you know. It's like it's like your the guy that you watch online like a lot and you really like watching this guy, right? And then he gets banned off of like whatever you watch, so you can't produce content anymore, so you can't watch it anymore. You're attached to that person, and when they can't do it anymore, you're sad. So that's equivalent to like them losing, you know, or your team losing or whatever. So it's like, that's what happens. I don't get attached to a lot in sports. I am attached to Brazil, like sort of.
It's attached to a team, yeah.
In soccer.
Oh no!
So like when they got 7-1 by Germany, that hurt.
Yeah, I love that.
I watched that crap.
I
watched that crap live, yo. I watched all those.
Yeah, I was laughing when that happened.
Yeah. I watched that crap. I watched all the memes to that crap.
It was so like that's a thing with sports. But I mean, you were never like a sports oriented person anyway, so it's like sports has never really been your thing. You know?
I know of sports, like sort of. Yeah. But I never get attached to sports.
Well,
Sports
I
is
feel like people don't get attached to the sport itself, more so the people.
well, yeah, right. But I mean, I don't know. For me, it's different. Like I've always loved sports because like that's one of the things that I really enjoy doing, like as an activity.
Hmm.
I enjoy like I don't even enjoy playing games as I do sports. I mean, I would like playing sports like and like competitive sport is equivalent to the feeling I get when I play a game that has like an excellent story. So playing a game that has an excellent story like practically never happens. So I can't consistently depend on that kind of enjoyment. But when I play
Yeah.
sport, it's like always enjoyable. You know?
Okay.
Um well, certain sports. So like for that reason, I'm just highly in tune with what I enjoy and what I enjoy doing. So that's why that ends up happening. I'm very in tune with that crap, man.
Man is invested in the sports. Yeah.
Yeah. Um
What the
yeah.
hell?
I try to be in tune in that kind of crap, so like I try to enjoy myself like all the time.
Yeah, I
I
don't really
wanna
get
en-
invested in playing sports.
Yeah, but I mean.
Yeah, I don't really care about what other people are doing sports, you know? Like, who gives a
Well,
damn?
well, that's a thing. You like people for like certain reasons. Like when people are like nice people and stuff like that, you want to see them succeed, and you feel sad when they don't. Like
Yeah.
I value like qualities in people and stuff like that, and qualities in things, right? So like when I see those, I'm like, yo, I like that guy.
I guess
You know?
that's just not what I go into sports looking at.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
go into
yeah,
sports looking for a storyline, you know?
yeah.
Right? When you're
Yeah.
going into a story game, right, that's what you're looking for. You're looking for the story. When I look at sports, I'm looking at two dudes fighting. Who's the better fighter, you know?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't care about their story.
Um, yeah.
Yeah.
I could definitely see that. Well, specifically in tennis, like, let me tell you, holy crap, bro. Yo, Nadal and Federer, bro, that crap is so wild.
Yo.
The storyline there, it's like an anime, bro. I'm not even joking. That crap is straight anime. That crap is straight anime. Like, it's so anime, it's unbelievable. You will fall in love. Like, even if you don't like
Oh
the
no.
characters, you will love the story, bro. Like, watch the history of those two retards. Let me tell you something. Oh my god, that crap is funny.
Let me
Um,
tell you, tennis to me is also hella boring to watch. I can't watch tennis.
let me tell you. Let me tell you, the only
Yeah.
reason I like tennis was because of like Nadal, right? But ever since I started playing tennis, I love watching tennis, yo. Oh my god, yo. I could actually watch tennis and enjoy myself because when you understand how hard it is to play the game,
Yeah.
like tennis is so difficult, yo. It's really hard. Like I'm not even joking, like
You
it's
have an
really hard.
appreciation for it, and you know
You
what
have an
you're
appreciation.
looking for too.
Yeah. So when you appreciate it and you see people applying it at such a high level, you're like, damn, and just that is entertaining.
Yeah.
Just that
Honestly,
is
for
entertaining.
me, to some extent, that's even not entertaining. Like in UFC, right?
Uh-huh.
UFC is like that for me, but
Yeah.
I still like I'm bored half the time in UFC. It's
But I
really
mean,
I don't
I
get
feel
interested in it.
that's a product of your personality. That's the thing. Like I mean, when you look at yourself, right? What things have you been interested in, like ever? You know,
Yeah.
you're not that invested in games, right? The only thing that you're really interested in now is drawing. Like that's it. Like honestly, you weren't really ever that invested in games in gen. I don't think any of us have ever been that in like
Yeah,
actually invested
hell
in
no.
games. You know.
Yeah.
It's only now in our lives have we found like an actual passion in something specific, very specific.
Dungeon fighter.
I I like uh, you have to narrow
Oh
down your
man.
passion. What I'm passionate about games is like 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 that story experience, like a certain
Yeah.
experience that I'm getting from it. Like the things that I want in life, I know exactly what I want. I like getting an experience, right? That is sometimes new or like sometimes like getting an experience that is enjoyable. Like that's it, right?
Yeah.
Getting an experience that is enjoyable, right? So that's the thing that I enjoy. So any spot where I can get that experience that I can enjoy, I will be invested in that. You know,
Yeah.
I think that's rather the same about everybody. Like you just don't find anything about sports as an experience you can enjoy. You know, but like I do in certain aspects of it.
Yeah.
You know, you just gotta look for it. You just gotta actually find it. You know. Just
Nah,
gotta actually.
man. Screw sports.
Yeah,
Just
just
gotta
look
draw
at the
hentai.
hentai.
Yeah. Man
That's what
posted
it's all
hentai on
about.
Instagram
Yeah,
again,
I
yeah.
did.
My
Like, oh god.
my only thing is that it turns out that an experience that I can enjoy, I can find that in like most things these days.
Yeah.
Like I ended up finding that in like most things. I can find that in like combat. I can find that in art. I can find that in like woodwork. I can find that in like anything, right? So in fact, I could at this point in my life, I find interest in like everything there is possibly. You know, I
Oh
found some
no.
kind of interest in like everything. You know.
Man just interested in drugs.
Yeah,
Man,
like
man
honestly,
likes
I
watching
am.
paint dry. Yeah.
I am, yo. Like, watching paint dry is also hype, yo. Let me tell you, there's so much that goes into painting, yo. You gotta get 2 coats. You gotta get a primer, bro. You got your finish coat. You got your sparkle. You got your
Spackle.
And
You got
spackling.
you got your
And spackling after painting.
yeah, hell yeah, bro. That's when you do that crap, bro. You got your soppets, bro. There's a lot of crap, bro. There's a lot of crap. Um,
It's a
Painting is
pain.
crazy.
Yeah. Nah, man. Yeah, I'm a farmer, man. That's the way. That's the true way.
Well, that's the thing. You can't be invested in everything at the same time. But I like learning
Can't.
about. What you can do is learn about all these things.
Yeah.
While you may not be able to be invested, you can learn. Which is why I love the Joe Rogan podcast so much. Is because like you could learn like so much because he has such a wide variety of people on there, right? You could like learn about so much different crap. Yeah.
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 Yeah, let me tell you, man, learning is retarded.
Well, that's the thing. I enjoy learning is a thing that I enjoy. You know.
It depends. It really does. Like learning is something that I'm like I don't mind if it's I feel like something that I learned that I'd actually want to look into
Yeah.
or anyway. But like if I end up learning about some crap that I just don't care about, I'm like this was a waste, complete waste of my time. Yeah.
Yes, but it's just that like the more I think about things, the more I realize like why it could be helpful to learn about it. You know? Why it's like
Oh,
helpful to learn about
not
it.
when you're a simple farmer. There's only a
Yeah.
couple things you need. Yeah. Only a couple things you need to learn about, and that's it. You're done.
Nah, man, learning is well, learning like it's a specific kind of learning. I listen
Yeah.
to the Joe Rogan podcast while I'm showering, yo.
Oh no.
Oh,
Hell yeah.
man's
Exploring
experimenting in the
himself
shower with
with Joe
Joe
Yo,
Rogan.
Rogan.
yo, that bald head, bro. Goddamn.
Yo, shiny.
Shiny.
Oh no.
You got a big head, you know. You got a
Yeah,
really thick
yeah.
Yeah.
skull.
Yeah,
It's
that
because of the
dude smokes weed.
it's because of the TRT, bro. That's why.
Red Dead Redemption.
Damn. Yeah, that guy probably has brain damage.
That guy was
Who?
on Fear Factor, yo. He was in there.
Yo, he
He ate a
definitely has
cockroach.
brain damage.
Joe Rogan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you think he has brain damage?
Wasn't he? He's a UFC fighter or some crap. Right?
No,
He has
he's
brain
not.
No,
damage.
He's not.
he's never been a fighter.
A
Like he's
professional fighter, yeah.
yeah, he's been
Was he
into
not?
combat sports, but
Yeah, no,
no,
he wasn't.
Really?
no.
That's a thing that not a lot of people realize. He's never actually fought professionally. He's
Oh yeah.
wanted to, I guess, at some points in his life, but he's fought in Taekwondo competitions, but that's just
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah. He still
Yeah.
has brain damage. He was born with brain
Nah, it's like
damage.
impossible to get brain damage from Taekwondo, yo.
Yeah,
Nah,
those guys are
he was
retarded.
born with brain damage.
Oh no.
He might have been actually. You know, he was in a TV show.
Yeah,
Damn.
he's been on a lot of TV shows.
No, like an actual, like, no, I'm
Freaking
serious.
Tate was just like he was on Fear Factor.
No, well, Fear Factor is like a different kind of TV show, but I mean like as an acting role, like
Yeah,
like
yeah.
reality TV. Yeah.
He's been in a couple.
But he's been in a movie. I know, like he was in. No, was he in Here Comes the Boom? Was that him?
Yeah.
Here
Yeah.
comes
He
the
played
boom.
he played what was that dude's name? I
Arnold.
forgot. It's too
No, but yeah, he was in like an actual show like back in the day when he was like younger. I forgot what like a radio something. Crazy.
Radio.
Oh no.
He's done it all, man. He's a comedian.
Yeah.
Never forget that.
He's
Yeah.
this weed smoker.
He's a comedian. Anyway, stop this stream. We went way longer than if we were to freaking watch anime. You know how sad that is? It's 11 o'clock. Think about that, man. It's 11 o'clock.
Oh no. Alright, I'll stop it.
2 hours, 9 minutes. You'll upload that as a podcast.
Yo, someone else has to upload. I don't have access to it.
Oh, yeah,
Yo, Tate,
right.
upload